Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Kingdom Hearts podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today we are going to be reviewing the much beloved and very famous Kingdom Hearts 2 on this program here.
Yeah, so you had beaten this game before, right? Back in like high school?
Yeah, so I beat it in junior high, maybe high school. Borrowed a copy of this from my friend Dylan, who had just beaten it before me and thought I would really like it, and that it had Final Fantasy characters in it, which in fact it does, of course, which is why we're reviewing it. And I played it, and I really liked it back in high school. I thought it was like lesser than Final Fantasy. I didn't think it was as good as Final Fantasy, and it was kind of dumbed down, and it was Disneyfied, and it had some stuff in it that was weird and funny and goofy, pun intended. And but I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I was looking forward to it. Basically, this whole entire time that we've been doing UFF for the last almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill myself after saying that. Yeah, I'd been looking forward to playing the Kingdom Hearts games because this was a great excuse to play them. And I'd played and beaten 2 in the past. So this is the only one I had beaten before because I had played and not beaten 1. And of course, I'd never touched all the many spin-offs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my kind of experience with it. What about you?
Never played a minute of them before this, so I kind of, similar to how you are with like cartoons, I was that way with video games. I'm like, yeah, that's a kid's game. And I just never thought twice. Like, I was like, nah, that game's for kids. And now all I do is play games for kids. You could argue that almost all games are for kids.
Yeah.
Except for maybe rated M. Like Grand Theft Auto, probably not for kids. Everything else.
No, it's for kids.
It's probably for kids.
Let me say, it's actually for kids. It's for kids to sneak and play a game that they're not supposed to play.
Yeah, I mean,
in that way, it's a game for kids.
I have caught Jace playing Grand Theft Auto online.
Oh.
Which I told him no. But, yeah.
I'm sure he'll listen.
Yeah. I'm sure he won't do exactly what all of us did and like find a friend who's got a copy of Grand Theft Auto.
You got to find the friend that has like the parent that doesn't police their children's
that
stuff.
has like really old parents that like don't pay attention to that
or
shit.
that. I mean, that'll be one version of it. But I literally, so going back, like I had my friend Justin growing up.
That's not a real name.
I know. It's Justin, but spelled Mormon-y, but he's not Mormon. His family wasn't Mormon, so that was weird.
Maybe they just wanted to like fit in.
I guess.
Yeah. What's the best way to fit in Utah? Change your names, the spelling of your kid's name, and fuck it up completely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got to have a name that is similar to a name that already exists, but they want to like add their own touch to it.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Otherwise, you combine two names, but you don't bother to lowercase the first letter of the second name. You just leave a capital.
Okay.
I've seen that a bunch, like J. Lynn, and the L is capitalized. It's like, oh, so you mashed them together, but you forgot to lowercase the L, so you just went with it.
Nice.
Yeah, real good.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, so he had the parent that, of course, doing like they had cable, and they had cable, and I mean fucking cable.
Yeah.
So there was like 10 porn channels.
Nice.
On there, which when I found at 3 a.m. over at his house, I had to sleep over when he was asleep. Changed my life.
Yeah. I love your cable, dude.
I always wanted to make sure that he went to sleep early and that I had some time in front of his television.
Yeah, knowing your past, you probably drugged the kid.
Knowing my past, you probably drugged the kid. Could you not?
I didn't mean it like that, although it makes it more.
Knowing you're a Bill Cosby fan.
Yeah.
In all aspects of your life.
Yeah, being the main Bill Cosby supporter on this program. I could just see you like, oh, I'll go get you some more Coke or for Mountain Dew, and then you're like crushing up melatonin into the fucking
melatonin.
Really drugging his ass.
You didn't know it was diet caffeine free Mountain Dew. You just thought it tasted like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that was he was definitely the house. He had like Pulp Fiction there, but I was like kind of a good kid, except for when I had like, you know, the instinctual snap at 3 a.m. of wanting to watch porn. I was just like, oh no, my parents wouldn't want it if I watched that movie, stuff like that. And my parents were looser than a lot of the parents around my neighborhood too.
Yeah,
because like my parents would let me. What are you laughing at?
Just remembering like there's a story of TJ, one of our other acquaintances in that neighborhood, and we would all play Call of Duty together. And there was one day where his mic died, and my voice came over his TV, and it was very loud, and I was like going hard, man. I was like swearing up a fucking storm, and I think that's why his dad hated me, because he knew it was me. And so he didn't want me to go with you guys on that one trip.
Yeah, because that swearing really, you know, swearing leads to meth. That's what they always say. It's a
gateway.
Yeah, it's a gateway drug. You know, when the kid swears, meth head, it's gonna ruin your kid's life forever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, even though every child swears, and I bet TJ's dad was included in that. By the way,
probably. But really, what ended up ruining his poor son was his now daughter-in-law. Rest in peace, my friend.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Thanks for the snare drum.
Can't wait till you leave and then talk about your abusive spouse for the next 6 years when you're getting over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't say we'll be there, but, you know, who knows?
I don't know. He's a nice guy, I guess.
But yeah, that's why I was like, yeah. I mean, your parents didn't let you have electronics and stuff so much, but...
No, they didn't. But, like, movies, they would let me watch... movies that a lot of other parents would not allow. And I mean like this Mormon uptight neighborhood.
Yeah, no,
so
like
it's
normal.
only in comparison to that. So like, you know, I was able to watch Alien after I had to ask for permission. My mom had to look up stuff on the movie, but she would generally, if it didn't have nudity in it, let me watch it. So
no, there you
like
go.
I watched Saving Private Ryan and stuff when I was in high school, like, but there were limits, obviously. Like my mother was totally okay with violence, but not okay with me seeing boobies. So
seems a little weird.
It does. It does in retrospect, where you're like,
Because Saving Private Ryan is like insane levels of violence.
Oh yeah, like crazy levels.
Like
of
the
violence.
one guy just explodes. Like his little bomb thing goes.
Or the guy like holding his own intestines. You know.
Yeah, a guy like just crawling, and all he's got left is his torso.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit in that movie that's like pretty nuts. Like. It's not just a rated R movie. It's like crazy rated R.
But I mean, it's treated. So now that I'm on, I guess on the other side of this, it's like treated with respect almost by being so realistic.
Yeah.
It's not being exploitative where like the violence is one, fun, or two, sexualized, which there's almost no opportunity to be that way. It's Saving Private Ryan, but
yeah.
As opposed to like a lot of movies, especially even then, because movies don't even have nudity in them now. I swear to God. It's so weird.
I know.
Because like now there's so much porn, they don't even bother putting nudity in movies. It's like, well, the reason people are going to go to the movies is not because of the titties. So
yeah, and it's kind of disappointing because then we still have to watch all these video game movies, and it's like, where's the tits? Like, what's the point of this? It's terrible, but if there's titties, it's like, well, it's less terrible now.
It's less bad. Listen to our other gaming podcast, Nude Clan, for more information on that. Okay, well, why don't we just go ahead and we'll get into the development of this game.
All right, let's do it.
Kingdom Hearts 2, if you're not aware, is an action role-playing game that was put out on the PS2. It is set 1 year after Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, with Sora searching for his lost friends while battling the sinister Organization 13. So plans after Kingdom Hearts were like after Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, they were finalized. What the fuck? Kingdom Hearts, what is my write-up saying right now? Okay, so they had plans to make a sequel to Kingdom Hearts. and it took a while. It was like a pretty big gap between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 in order for Kingdom Hearts 2 to come out. And they were kind of in the behind the scenes struggling with the idea of making a sequel to Kingdom Hearts because they wanted more Mickey to be involved. And Disney was not going to let Mickey go very easily. It was Square Enix's product development division 1 were the ones who developed the game, and a lot of the original staff from the first game were involved in the development. So they decided that in order to, at some point in development, they decided that Chain of Memories was going to be made. And in order to, I guess, justify the fact that Sora loses all his abilities between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
Oh, is that what this was?
The memory loss plot was added into Chain of Memories in order to like justify the fact that, you know, he no longer has all the abilities that he once had.
Man, that's a hell of a way to fill a pothole. That's like Arnold Schwarzenegger a month ago. He like filled a pothole in his neighborhood, and then the city fined him because they were like, that wasn't a pothole, we were digging that up. And you just came by and fucking filled it.
You remember when Domino's was doing that?
Filling potholes?
Yeah. They were like, we're going to help our neighborhoods by filling potholes. Yeah.
How long did that last?
I don't know. I don't see them advertising it anymore, so I feel like not very long. Unless they filled all the trouble potholes and they're like, now our delivery drivers can finally drive around this fucking shithole.
Yeah. So also note, just think of how far Disney has fallen. They were like so protective of everything back then, and now they're like, you know what? Dog shit remake, live action, hell yeah. Rubber stamp, get it out.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. It's truly a dark time. Now, admittedly, there have been other dark times in Disney history.
Can I say what the crazy thing is? So Disney was seen up until they bought Marvel, basically, as like they're the one major studio that wasn't owned by a larger corporation. So they weren't owned by General Electric or Viacom or anything. They were just by themselves, self-sustaining the entire time that they've been going. And in the 70s, they made a big deal about how all these movie studios are becoming corporatized in the late 70s. And it's true, because they definitely were. And you could see the changes in movie making and how they made movies. They were like, oh, this movie made $200 million? Well, then every movie needs to make $200 million or more.
Yeah.
And so they made movies that would bring in a wider audience. What's crazy about Disney is that now Disney looks like, from the outside, as the most corporate greed one. And yet they're still not owned by another like corporation that has a bunch of, you know, tax write-off peoples and finance people that are saying like trying to get the bottom line, you know.
Yeah.
More
sure
profit, more money.
I'm sure that's still happening with them, because I know I've heard that they've canceled a few of the Marvel things due to performance lately, which I'm fine with. Cause
slow them down, make them better, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, there's too much. And then, of course, Star Wars, they're like wrecking. And the fact that there's no Star Wars level in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like, what is the point, man? You have Star Wars. Why isn't it in your video game? Like, that would be an awesome world to have a Kingdom Hearts thing. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get Agrabah version 7. You know, no.
The same fucking music over and over again.
Do-do-do. It's like it's burned into my memory.
I will say we have beaten now Recoded, and I am 2/3 of the way through.
Oh my God.
358 over 2 days. So, and the music has not changed. We talked about this last time, but it's not like I'm still in 358 over 2 days, and the music is still the exact same. And I'm like, oh, someone make a change, please.
Yeah. Can I get the live music again, please? Like, I missed the Shimamura music, or the whatever that chick's name is. The
Utada Hikaru.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm missing it.
So many aspects were reworked in Kingdom Hearts 2 from Kingdom Hearts 1, including like the control scheme and like they added the special attacks and all these things because of feedback from the original game. So they took feedback into mind and then they kind of like worked to make the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 2 a little bit more fleshed out and smooth. One of the things that I remember reading was that they had less, or they had more exploration of areas, like bigger areas for you to explore in Kingdom Hearts 2, which thinking back, I was like, no, it was still move forward one room, get a cutscene, move forward another room, get a cutscene, move forward another room, get a cutscene. And yeah, you can go around and grab some special stuff, many of which I'm pretty sure were just from the Final Mix 2.5 version that we got. But yeah, I didn't really see that much of that, but that's one of the things they said.
Yeah, it's a great game to watch while you're folding laundry. I'll tell you that. I folded a lot of laundry watching this game. The audio. Okay, so music was by Yoko Shimomura once again. And then the song, which they had a new song in there, which is like Sanctuary, I think is what it's called. At least that's the main line that plays throughout the whole thing. And that's again by Utada Hikaru, which is a big, huge pop artist in Japan. Yeah, I mean, thankfully they didn't make the grave mistake of like putting her in the game like they did with Gact or whatever. And
yeah, that's a good point. But like, I think they bought those songs for forever because it's in all of them almost. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they.
Simple and Clean was played in Chain of Memories.
Yeah,
Sanctuary I think was played in Recoded, wasn't it? Am I crazy?
No, I think it had the
It had Simple and Clean again.
Had the whatever the boop ba boop da ba ba da ah. Whatever that one is. I think it's the one from 1.
Yeah, it's Simple and Clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
I refuse to
Interesting.
memorize these things.
Oh, okay. The voice cast included well-known actors for both the Japanese and English versions, many of which were like the actors from the Disney games that they were pulling in, including like the voice for Mulan, James Woods is Hades, I think the voice of Tron, Zach Braff is Chicken Little.
Nice.
And then a lot of the voices were replaced because they couldn't afford them a second time around. For the ones that we got in the first one, we got some of the original voices in the first one. They had a lot of the direct-to-video sequel cast fill in for the voices of this second one here.
Was Genie still done by the Homer Simpson guy?
Yeah.
Because like it's getting to the point where I can't even tell anymore. Like when I played the first game, I knew it was the Homer Simpson guy. And it's not that I think it's Robin Williams.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
It's not Robin Williams. But yeah, I was like, he sounds more on key than he did in the first game. Like the first game, you could tell it's like sounds like Homer Simpson kind of. And now I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's the same guy. It probably is, but.
And I think this was the first time that Tifa was voiced by Rachel Lee Cook, who did the voice in the English cast for Advent Children and stuff. Basically, all the Tifa stuff up until very recently.
Until remake.
Yeah, until remake. So a lot of people there. Content editing wise, there's actually changes in the gameplay and scenes between the Japanese and English versions. The Japanese one, there's a bunch of changes, but it seems like the general consensus for what I was looking at, the Kingdom Hearts wiki was like, it was mostly like they're toning down the violence for the English language version a lot. So, and it's not like it was super violent from what I was seeing in the Japanese versions, but they like, they had crosshairs for an enemy's point of view once, and it changed it into like 3 balls.
Oh, okay.
A circle, like, and other actual like violent stuff, like people hitting other people. Like they totally toned that down and took it out. The sequel was hinted in trailers and officially announced on Tokyo Game Show 2003. They eventually put out information through websites, videos, and commercials, and then the release date was announced 2 years after the original announcement. So, sounds like good old Square Enix.
Yeah.
It did ship 1 million copies in Japan within a week. It was the highest selling game in North America in March 2006. It received positive reviews praising the visuals, soundtrack, and voice acting, while mixed reviews on the gameplay, narrative, and the difficulty level. It received several awards, including some Game of the Year awards, and it was released in 4 different versions, including Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix with additional content. Lots of toys and novels and manga adaptations, novelizations. And now we have our version, which we played, which we did one of the many versions of this game, I guess. We did 2.5, Kingdom Hearts 2.5.
Yeah.
Which I believe they added a whole new boss, which we will definitely talk about. And I think some other secret stuff and some extra added scenes to kind of tie it into the old content more. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like the video game version of the Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Star Wars remasters with all the new effects and stuff.
And the new actors.
totally don't mean anything. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of the development I have on Kingdom Hearts 2. So, do you want to get into story?
Yeah. Man, one thing I love about the Star Wars is that they're like, oh, we put Hayden Christensen in so that you could recognize him. I was like, wait, recognize him? We just saw the guy who was fucking playing him like 5 minutes ago. What do you mean recognize him?
It's also like, oh, so he died and everybody else is the oldest version of themselves, but he's a young version of himself when he's in the spirit world. I don't know what to say.
Obi-Wan's like, what the fuck, man? World? I got to get up and piss like 5 times a night. So I came back as this old man, and you're just 29 years old. What the fuck?
That's wild.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So the story of Kingdom Hearts 2. Sora, Donald, and Goofy have been asleep for a year to regain their lost memories. Roxas, which is Sora's nobody, as we'll come to find out, is stuck in a virtual Twilight Town simulation created by Diz to merge him with Sora and restore his power.
Diz got to be the dumbest name so far.
I mean, it's not his true name, though. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get like 6 hours. I don't know how long it was, but I had forgotten all this. I had forgotten that it wasn't Sora. That's really what I had forgotten.
Yeah.
Is that you get like a hefty chunk of this game playing someone else doing fucking nothing, where they're playing this stupid sports game. Let's Struggle, I think is what they say. Let's Struggle. And it's this game where you take like fucking like pool noodles.
Yeah.
Hit them against someone else and balls fall out of them and you got to collect the balls.
Yeah.
It is as homoerotic as it sounds.
Yeah, pretty much. Cypher's there, and we know he's
Cypher is there. Oh, and Raijin and Fujin are there.
Yeah, easily the most annoying. Whichever one the dude is, man, that's so much more annoying in voice. I'll tell you that. His voice is
just the text from Final Fantasy. I will say it was true to character. Like a lot of these guys come into Kingdom Hearts and like Cloud is extra emo for no reason.
Yeah.
Which explains Kingdom Hearts or explains Advent Children a lot. Because Nomura just made a new Cloud through the Kingdom Hearts games where he's like, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And I don't care about anyone and I hate the world.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then he took that Cloud character, which doesn't exist in the original 7, and then continued it with the Advent Children after this.
I would argue it kind of doesn't exist in the remake either.
No, in the remake, actually, yeah. That was one of the things we talked about in the remake review, was that Emo Cloud was basically gone.
Yeah.
Which was nice. It was like, oh, you guys actually brought back pretty much the original character in this, and not the emo version that we've had since 2001.
The annoying, yeah. I was always curious, like, because I know a bunch of stuff is lost in translation, like Sang being alive still. Mm-hmm. That was like a mistranslate in the original, or our port of the game. And so when the movie, you're like, why is this guy alive? It's like, oh, no, he is alive. It just, seemed like he was dying in the building that then imploded.
Yeah, that we see a scene of him exploding.
But he's alive. Nobody says anything. But so I always wondered, like, man, are we wrong on these characters? Like, is it just a bad translation? So we're bitching about Emo Cloud for years on end, but he's supposed to be Emo Cloud, but apparently not.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been Emo Cloud in Kingdom Hearts 1, where we met him briefly. I don't even think we talked about it in the review, and we probably should talk about the Final Fantasy stuff in the reviews because that is our show. But
true, yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's Emo-y Cloud. He's got to deal with Hades or whatever, and it's just continuing on. And then Auron shows up in this one with the same thing, where he's got to fight through the Colosseum stuff. That's where they both show up. And then Cloud shows up again and Recoded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then only Moogles show up in 358 over 2 days. We're playing that entire game just for some Moogles to be bought from in stores. So Diz's plans are in danger when nobodies, led by Axel, Roxas' former friend from Organization 13, infiltrate the virtual town to get Roxas back. However, Roxas manages to fend off the nobodies, and then in this weird scene, he merges with Sora again, I guess, is like true form. So I think 358 over 2 days is the prequel, because you're playing as Roxas, who's making his way through Organization 13.
Oh, well, all right.
So afterwards, you're back as Sora after 10 hours of
shit.
Nothing. Yeah. A pretty bad intro to this game, honestly, when I was like, oh man, this is sloggy. This means nothing. Kind of bad mini games. Like,
yeah, like pushing the freaking cart up the hill. It's like, screw you.
It was like, come on, get me back to where I hear the repeated music of Agrabah over and over again while we watch a tiny mini story of Sora like dealing with the Heartless or the nobodies in the world that he goes into. Like, come on, give me some of that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been missing. Afterwards, so Sora, Donald, and Goofy wake up in the real Twilight Town and meet King Mickey and Yen Sid, who send them on a journey to find Riku and uncover the organization's plans. Meanwhile, Maleficent is resurrected and team up with Pete to pursue more power.
Yeah, Pete's like the most conflicted character because, like, in this he's just bad mostly, but like in actual cartoons, like Pete's not really a bad guy. He's like kind of a dick.
Yeah,
but his neighbor's a fucking moron. So like I understand.
An idiot mouse man.
Yeah.
Who screws up his ship.
Yeah, you got that, and then you got Goofy as the neighbor. It's like.
He's surrounded by morons.
Yeah, he's surrounded by assholes. So, like, I get it. But in this, he's just like, no, I'm evil.
Yeah, I'm evil. I wish I could do a Pete impersonation.
I don't even want to try.
He has such a great voice. I love that voice. So Sora travels through various worlds, dealing with problems caused by the Organization 13, the Heartless, and local villains. While at Hollow Bastion, they reunite with Mickey, who explains that the Heartless Ansem they defeated was an imposter named Xehanort. His nobody, Xemnas, leads the organization. The organization reveals their quest for the power of Kingdom Hearts. Created from the Hearts, Sora released from the Heartless within his Keyblade, and they're holding Kairi hostage. A mysterious hooded figure assists Sora through his journey, whom he believes to be Riku. Following a lead, Sora, Donald, and Goofy access the world that never was through Twilight Town, with Axel sacrificing himself to help them. There, Sora finds Kairi and Riku, the latter having transformed into Xehanort's Heartless. So I guess that's what happened. Maybe in Chain of Memories or something, because there's definitely a gap happening with like, why is Riku looking the way he does at this point in the story?
It is Chain of Memories, I think.
Yeah, so there was a whole like section of story we didn't play in Chain of Memories, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess that probably explains that. Mickey encounters Diz, who is, of course, revealed to be Ansem, Xehanort's mentor, and Ansem tries to harness Kingdom Hearts' power, but it backfires, engulfing him and restoring Riku to his original form. Atop the castle that never was, Sora and his companions battle Xemnas, who uses the remnants of Kingdom Hearts to fight them. After defeating Xemnas, Sora and Riku find themselves in the realm of darkness, but they discover a portal to the realm of light in a letter sent by Kairi. This allows them to return to Destiny Islands and reunite with their friends. In a post-credit scene, Sora, Kairi, and Riku receive and read a letter from Mickey, the contents of which are hidden from the player, which I don't even remember that part.
The contents of which we will talk about next time on Ultimate Final Fantasy when we review Recoded.
Oh, okay. So you remember that a lot better than I do then?
Yeah, so D's, Julico in the chat says D's nuts, and I thought that every time, honestly.
Yeah.
Whenever they said D's, I'm like, oh, are you talking about D's? And I like grab my crotch.
By yourself?
Yeah, just alone. Just alone at 5 a.m. Like, oh,
D's.
yeah, D's. Oh.
And then someone walks up behind you like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. There's that. And then also the nobodies. Okay. So you get a nobody when you're turned into a heartless. So it's almost like...
Yeah, you're turned into a heartless, but like if you had a particularly strong personality, you get like a husk of your existence.
Yeah, and then like it's like a part of you, sort of. It's like a weird version of you that's also you, but not really.
Yeah.
If it sounds confusing and kind of dumb, that's because it is.
It is,
but,
for sure.
Because Sora turned into a heartless in the first game, that created Roxas, who is his nobody. Why is Roxas in a fake Twilight Town? I don't know. How does that even happen? No clue. But that's what happened, and that's where we are. So
yep,
we got those things.
Pretty much. And I would say like the actual like mechanisms behind Kingdom Hearts that they're trying to create, also don't understand it. Don't get it. I don't understand why people need to sit in 20 feet chairs.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get how they got up there. I have no idea.
They just had a lot of marble laying around. And they're like, you know what? This chair could use another 19 feet.
Or they had like unfinished pillars. You know, they were going to make a different room and then they ran out of budget and they're like, just put some cushions at the top.
Yeah. We'll just sit
that'll be our meeting room.
Yeah.
For Organization 13.
Yeah.
We do have some... I think the strongest presence in this game was Christopher Lee for 3 scenes in this game, which was really interesting. That one kind of threw me off.
Yeah,
and
I think I accidentally called him Christopher Lloyd, and I was like, "Wait a minute, no, that's not the right guy."
No, that's not the right guy.
And then I immediately thought of Christopher Lloyd, and I was like, "No, other one."
Then you thought of Lloyd Alexander, who wrote The Dark Cauldron, and.
Yeah, and then eventually I was like, no.
Then you thought of Alexander the Great, who conquered the area around Greece.
Yeah, it was a big thing. I had to pause the game for like an hour.
Yeah, so you're kind of going down the line like, who in God's name voiced this?
Yeah, Christopher Lee, much like his performance in Man with the Golden Gun, easily the best thing about this, voice cast wise. He was really good.
Yeah, he is only in it for like... the one day of recording that they could afford him for.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, each of the areas, I think, like, there's more to the story. That's just kind of the general plot line. You go into each of these areas, and they have their own mini story about how some heartless or some nobodies, I'm not even sure who I'm fighting against in this game, like, popped up out of nowhere, and and then Sora has to go and deal with them, and then a bad guy about half the time will show up, and then order is then restored into the world, but then you have to go back to the world later on half the time, and you got to restore some more order to the world. So I will say all the worlds from Kingdom Hearts 1, here's kind of the difference, I think, between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 in terms of like the little worlds that you're in. The stories are shorter.
Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts 2. I remember them being ludicrously long in Kingdom Hearts 1. Like a lot of cutscenes. And in this one, it's like, I guess they took like a leaf out of the Chain of Memories book and they just kind of did like 3 or 4 little sequences that you have to deal with in the world that you're in. And it's pretty straightforward. And you defeat a thing and then you're out of the world. But I remember in Kingdom Hearts 1, there was a lot of backtracking. I remember the Atlantica level in Kingdom Hearts 1 being really long and a lot of back and forth. At least it felt that way, In this one, I guess they made up for it by having you go to the world twice.
Yeah.
But shorter each time, you know?
I was going to say, this time it's like, the best analogy I could think of is like Conflict Desert Storm, and then the next one like 10 years later. It's like, oh, we weren't done. Roll back in. Like,
so
restore some more order.
Well, you're talking deserts. You're thinking the Gulf War.
Maybe, yeah.
The Gulf War was shorter though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Gulf War into the war in Iraq? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We had to come back and restore some more order.
I'm not sure if this metaphor is working, but okay.
So you're right. They're a lot shorter, but you do go twice, so it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And speaking of Atlantica...
Okay, all right. let me premise this. I told Schweiss, and I think I told him on air. I think this was on a recording. I said, you're not ready for the Little Mermaid level, like in Kingdom Hearts 2. It was awful because like we played Kingdom Hearts 1, and I remember going, oh, not a musical, thank God, because I had played Kingdom Hearts 2 and I remembered that.
Yeah,
because it's gonna be hard not to remember that because it is quite possibly one of the worst things ever. In terms of all bad things, it ranks
like
pretty
everything,
high.
Yeah, it's in there.
And I just thought, oh, thank God. Like there was bad swimming mechanics in the first one, and there was a stupid thing that kept on spitting you out in the wrong spot in this like maze of like whirlpool or this like currents in Kingdom Hearts 1, and I was
you
like,
gotta fight the system for
that was all dumb, that was all horrible. Ursula was a pain in the dick.
Yeah,
but at least with Kingdom Hearts 2 I can skip the shit out of it. So this time around I was like, you gotta play Kingdom Hearts, you gotta play the Atlantica level, because you just have to know what happens in that level. I however looked up what levels were skippable in Kingdom Hearts 2, and you bet your ass when I saw that Atlantica was completely skippable, I was like, see you later, not playing that shit again. So tell everybody what happens at the Atlantica level. I think it's probably like the most unique thing about Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah. So you go there, and basically the whole time they're trying to put on like a musical performance, and they're trying to recruit Sora. Yeah, as you do Under the Sea. And they're trying to recruit Sora and make sure he's like good enough to handle it. And you unlock future levels as you unlock like certain abilities, because there's like a little mini quest where you're trying to obtain items that were lost from Eric, the guy that Ariel's in love with in the movie. There's like a statue of him, which is kind of weird. And then there's also like the necklace or whatever the hell he drops. You have to like unlock abilities to kind of get those out of there. But in the meantime, they sing. Everybody just starts singing, and like there you got a button. You got to press buttons, and it doesn't match the beat. It doesn't match anything, and you got like all these animations going on in the background. So I'm kind of watching that, and then suddenly I'm like, oh shit, I missed one, because it's like a little timing mini game. It's a little circle, and you have to like press the button that's in the middle of the circle as it's like near the very top of the circle, so you get like a good and excellent or whatever rating. And if you get too many bads, you fail. I never failed, but the music is terrible.
Oh my God.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not on beat. The mini game's not on beat to the not on beat music. I'm like, this is just like, none of this makes any sense to me. I'm like, why am I timing these buttons at this time? Like, I can't even like get into the rhythm. It's not like it's not like I'm trying to play Guitar Hero and you can kind of like get into the beat and you're like, oh, okay. When you think about the beat and you kind of feel it out, you can play it. And this, you can't think at all. You just have to watch, and don't watch what's happening. You just watch for the little circle.
Also, play totally different music in the background and mute your television, because it is. I mean, this is Yoko Shimomura's worst creation.
Oh, if it's
by
hers,
far.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
The music in that level, it made me like sick to my stomach. It was bad. It was like listening to Stupid Ho, only worse somehow.
Yeah. It's like listening to that song with Nicki Minaj, like just a picture of her smiling at you, then listening to that song on repeat.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Really painful, really awful. The Pirates of the Caribbean levels, I will say, are also a certain level of painful because it's not Johnny Depp doing the voice of Captain Jack Sparrow.
You know who it is?
No.
It's James Arnold Taylor.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Sorry, James. I
thought he did a pretty good job, but it wasn't.
No, but it's just an impersonation of Captain Jack Sparrow, and I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, that's not him.
Yeah.
And also, I got real sick of the Hans Zimmer battle music because you have to fight a lot.
Yeah.
In that level,
you do.
And I think the annoying thing on the gameplay with that level is that when you're fighting the guys, they have to be in the moonlight. And so if they're in the shadow of the ship, which of course covered in shadows, little pools of light, you can't even corner them in the ship one. That's what pissed me off, because some of the land areas you could corner the guys into a place where they're in the light, so you can actually hit them.
Those guys hit kind of hard too, so it's really annoying.
Well, exactly. And but yeah, that level was tough for me just to listen to the guy not do Johnny Depp. Same with the Aladdin stuff. It's I gotta watch this guy not do the genie quite right.
Yeah.
So honestly, that's kind of that's the tough part there. What was interesting, and I guess, gosh, I'm bouncing all over the place because I want to talk about music, I guess, but Pirates of the Caribbean level, they had the music from the movie in the Pirates of the Caribbean, which was brand new when this game was released. But then in the Aladdin sections and in all the other sections, we're just getting the Kingdom Hearts version of music for these movies that has nothing to do with the original soundtrack of these movies.
Yeah, so you could tell it was the cool new thing, and they wanted, Disney was all right, you can promote this one. Which, I mean, when I watched that first movie when it came out, I was really into it.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I was extremely disappointed at number 2. I watched it and I was like, wow, they just took all of the cheese and just made it an hour and a half instead of just 15 minutes out of the first movie. You know what? Let's make it cheesy the entire time.
Yeah.
They just kept doing it.
Can I tell you, dude? I don't like The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know I'm in the minority there. I just don't like that movie. I don't think the music is good. I'm sorry. I know, heinous. I don't think the music is catchy. I've seen that movie 5 times and cannot sing you a song. Except for the This Is Halloween, because everybody references that song.
Yeah.
Literally cannot. And I've seen that movie, half a dozen times. And it has a dumb third act, and it goes on. It feels like it's a 20-minute long movie. It has no depth of character or anything in it. I don't like that movie. I, of course, had an ex who loved that movie, so that was another part of it. It's just gosh, I don't like it. I don't get it. Aesthetically, that's what it has going on for it, and I totally get that part. It's cool aesthetics and it's great animation, but the music sucks, and that's where I'm just out of there. I hate that in every single one of these fucking Kingdom Hearts games, I've had to go to Halloween Town every time. I'm of all the Disney movies, that we have to, I don't mind seeing the Aladdin stuff. I like the Aladdin movie.
Yeah.
I like Pirates of the Caribbean, even though this version of it is weird.
Yeah.
None of these levels are that great, but also why do I have to why is it required? It's one of the required levels. By the way. You have to play Halloween Town in order to beat Kingdom Hearts 2. Why am I required to do Halloween Town? Why? It wasn't even that big of a hit for Disney when it came out.
Yeah. I mean, my son, the oldest, Nicholas, the middle, I guess, second one, he loves that movie. But I don't think he loves it. He loves skeletons and Halloween shit. So I think that's why he likes it. So every time I get in that level, I just grab him and he watches and he's all excited for 5 minutes. And then I start actually playing the game and then he just kind of fucks off.
We have Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, fucking Black Cauldron. You have
I mean, it took until this game to have the Lion King, which I think is the greatest
Lion
Disney
King,
movie.
Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Hunchback. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
You got so many options.
Yeah, why do we keep going to the same fucking places?
Why? Exactly.
It's like there's a lot of these games, man. How many times are we gonna have to go to these specific places? Like even Agrabah is grating on me. Like,
why don't they just have? Like why? Okay, what? Why didn't they go? Okay, we got these 6 worlds or however many there were for this Kingdom Hearts games. We'll do a different 6 worlds for this next Kingdom Hearts game.
It would have been cool. And then maybe, you can go back to some of them. But I mean, I don't know if that even matters.
Like, I don't give a shit. Do the rescuers.
Yeah, because the characters are like, oh, hey, Sora, what's up? Okay, now here's the problem. Like, there's like 2 seconds of, oh, man, it's been a while. And then they just go on to their quest.
Yeah.
So, like, why not just go somewhere else? Yeah.
Like,
that's why I was
missed opportunity.
I liked the fucking Pirates level in this game.
And how could you take the Atlantica level and make it worse?
Yeah.
Also, like, what?
It was the worst level in the first game, and now it's like way worse. They're like, well, we got all these. It's like an idea that Nomura won't let go, and then the heads of Square are like, all right, just put it in the trash bin. And then the trash bin is like labeled Atlantica. And like anything that you absolutely will not do without, we're just gonna make the Atlantica level.
It's like, Jesus, how many times? The Neverland stuff is always like the best level. I don't know what's up with that. Like fighting wise, gameplay wise, the Neverland levels in many of these games has been the best one. And it's less painful, I guess, because I don't have the voice actors like plastered into my skull like I have Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
So it's not as like difficult.
What about like
to watch.
Wonderland? I always kind of don't like that one.
Every single game of Kingdom Hearts that I've played so far, and I've fucking played 5 of these things now. Wonderland.
I don't like any of those levels, honestly. I don't like that movie. I've never really liked that movie. I just thought it was weird as hell.
Where's the Dinosaur Fantasia level? Like,
yeah,
or like the topless centaurs or something.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, at least we get some good Hercules. There's good movies in there. But even like I said, Aladdin, I'm like, man, goddamn, like how much Aladdin can I stomach? It's like, shit, dude, you're killing me.
They don't even use this. Like the Aladdin score is amazing, and they don't use like any of it. They use, which I love, Yoko Shimomura.
Yeah.
When she does different tracks per game, and I don't have to listen to the tracks over and over again, which is crazy. And that's unique to how we're playing these, like just in a row, just being like onslaughted by these same map themes over and over again.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
the same and very similar maps.
Yeah. So you got to take it with a grain of salt from us. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's like it's all the same.
They could have done. They could have done different ones.
All these games feel like the same game almost because you're like, oh, okay, now it's time to go to Halloween Town. Oh, now it's time to go to Hollow Bastion. Oh, now it's time to go to fucking Agrabah. Now it's time to go to Wonderland. And I'm like, oh, Wonderland.
Do you think this is like just what they had though? Like Disney had like a list of like you can touch these ones, but not these ones, or is it Nomura's favorites?
I could definitely tell that he likes Nightmare Before Christmas. Because as far as like retooling all of the characters, that's the one that he like Nomura the fuck out of. Because Sora's like got an eye patch on, a bunch of belts, got the little bat wings. So like that one, he was like hard as a rock when he was drawing up the fucking artwork for that shit.
It was so hard, he was passing out, dude.
Yeah, like there was no blood to the brain. But I don't know. One thing I liked about Kingdom Hearts 2, I liked the like designs for Goofy and Donald. Like each one of them were kind of funny. Like they just made Goofy like a turtle like half the game, basically. Like he's just a fucking turtle. Like yeah, he's a land turtle. Now he's a sea turtle. He's just turtle Goofy. So that's kind of cool to see like what they do with the side guys. Or they made when you go to Christmas Town, they made Donald like a snowman. The kids thought that was pretty funny. But again, they watch it for like 10 minutes and then they're like, oh, okay, I'm done watching this.
What did you think of the story of Kingdom Hearts 2 in general?
It's definitely a little more convoluted than number 1. Although 1 at the end basically was like a train and it almost made it to the station and then it just like derails as far as like nonsense goes. Because it's like, oh, we're going to Kingdom Hearts, and then Mickey gets locked in Kingdom Hearts.
I don't understand how the world works at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
In the physical realm of it, like I get what they're saying. It's like, oh, you have Heartless, and like a heart, I guess, is like a person's energy or maybe a soul.
It's like your soul, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, we can't. The nobodies will talk in 358 over 2 days. And it's like, I don't feel emotions as much as I should. And it's like, oh, it's because you don't have a heart.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of weird. It's like, okay, well, what are the mechanics behind setting up this world of hearts based upon the hearts? Like, are the hearts floating out somewhere like balloons out in the space, and someone has to go in there and get all the balloons together, or maybe they just come together? And then how do you make bricks? How do you make this world physically out of these souls?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so lost at that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand this world. It does feel like, and you said this before, it's like the Dissidia thing, where it's just like, in Dissidia, there's just a map, and suddenly the characters are there having a chat, just walking around, and you're like, I guess that's what it is. Okay.
Like, here's the new world. Here's 3 people. Here's a brainless conversation between the 3. And let's see how it happens. Ooh, let's see what plays out. Like, and then they're going to go against this bad guy from this world, and let's see how they interact. It's like, oh, what if? What if this and this? And I was like, man, who thinks about this shit? Like, what if Cecil met Sephiroth? What would they talk about? And then they put it in the game, and it's like, oh, nothing, apparently. They'll just
nothing.
They'll just shit talk and fight. Like, wow, wasn't that so cool? Yeah, super cool. Yeah, it's the same thing in these. They just fucking waltz into the new town. They have some dumb conversation, and then they interact with the world, and then they leave. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, how is this possible? Like, you go into space. There's all these different planets. Like, are they different worlds? Are they different universes? I don't know. The gummy ship's better in this game, but got to tell you, dying in the gummy ship is infuriating, and I will yell every time.
I'm going to concur on most of this stuff. So, like, the emotional through line is Sora looking for his friend again.
Yeah.
This time it's Riku for most of it. But, and then there's like a King Mickey, and he's out. I don't know how he's a king at all in this world. That's confuses the shit. That's one of those like technical things where I'm like, okay, does he have like a team of advisors?
Yeah.
Is he passing laws?
Yeah, like what is
decrees?
your job?
Like, what does the rest of this world look like?
What is it? Would you say
your
you
goddamn
do
castle?
Here?
Yeah, what do you do?
I take the Kingdom Hearts to the developers.
And he's like, I'm a warrior. Yeah. Somehow he's like part king, part assassin, but mostly he's just king in name because they're just calling him the king. I haven't seen him be a king at all. Yeah,
I mean, it's like Aragorn, but like there's no third movie. It's like,
I'm a king,
He knows, but he's not going to go do the thing.
He's a king, The guy in the corner, he's a king.
Yeah.
So
it's hooded too. It's hooded for a good amount of it.
Yeah. It really makes no, like, it's just like, it's not that there's not a building plan there. Like, I see the building, but it does have no, it has no concrete underneath. What's the word I'm looking for? It has no.
It's like there's a bunch of stuff that happens, and you can make sense of the stuff that happens. But if you take a step back, there's no foundation.
There's no foundation. Thank you. That's the word.
It's like when you take a step back, it's like, yeah, I know that the Heartless, when you lose your heart, you create a nobody, and that's like a weird shell version of you that doesn't have emotions. But I don't know why that happens. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like, I get that, but why? Like, what happens? What makes this a thing? And that's where it kind of gets that Dissidia feel a little bit. Yeah. It's like, well, just cause. Why are you asking why? I was like, I don't know, because I want to know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, so it's got that. One of the levels that I really loved in this game, I liked the Caribbean one a lot. Because it was a nice change of pace, and I thought it was actually pretty fun. That one part where you have to like fight dudes and then shoot at the ship. as well. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was so frustrating because I must have like clicked the information box too fast and I didn't read it all the way.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in God's name is happening? I just keep fighting these guys forever. And eventually I run out of cure stuff and I die. So,
yeah. And it's those fuckers like taking your medallion or something.
Yeah.
And you got to fight them off. And that took me a minute to figure out. I was like, why am I fucking losing this thing? That level was really cool. But the one I loved the most was like the classic Mickey Mouse level.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, and it's like old school, like OG Mickey Mouse. And Pete's like a good guy in that one. He's not evil, which is more true to his character. That's why I was like, why is this guy bad? Like, he's just kind of like a dick in the thing.
Yeah, he's a mean boss.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's Goofy's mean boss. Yeah, he's got this idiot employee. Like, and I thought that one was really cool. I thought the design was cool. I thought the sound was cool. They like made everything as if it was like a 50s cartoon. And it reminded me of kind of what Cuphead is as a game. It was like the Kingdom Hearts version of that.
You're actually going older than 50s. You're going like 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I think so. And it was cool seeing all the old designs and all that stuff. I thought that was awesome. I really liked that level.
That was cool. Yeah, aesthetically, that was really neat thing that they did. Really ingenious. Again, because they weren't going to Agrabah for the 12,000th time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. That was a cool spot. Overall, I would say that the story. Oh my gosh, was this the one where they said always keep smiling, or is that Chain of Memories? I think it was.
I think it was Chain.
There you go. There's still plenty of awkward dialogue in this game. I don't have any specific examples at the moment, but there were definitely some awkward, cringy dialogue.
Yeah.
But I will say that it was easier to watch than Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 1 is still a pretty good game, I think. But this one's definitely a more like well-rounded, smoother combat-wise, better story. They add more. It's a little more convoluted of a story, but playing them all in a row.
I think they have better bad guys. Like, I know that the original one had like the Disney villains specifically, but like the Organization 13 guys felt like better bad guys for the game.
Yeah, it makes more sense than having Disney villains as the villains, because it's weird because you're like,
I mean, Maleficent and Pete are there, but they're almost like on the side.
Yeah, and it doesn't make it make as much sense, because in each of those worlds, like the bad guy is like the ultimate bad guy, and then you're like, well, how come like Maleficent is the ultimate? Is she like the ultimate bad guy, like the baddest of the bad?
I guess she can turn into a dragon.
Yeah,
so
her and then
that'll
Pete.
Do it.
Like fucking Pete. These are the two ultimate bad guys, really?
He's a henchman. Come on.
Yeah, but you know, it kind of makes it weird. It's like, well, is Jafar really that big of a threat? Because I mean, we have Maleficent here. You know, she's gonna poison all the apples in the world. And then what are you gonna do? Or is that a different movie?
That's a different one.
Shit. They're so similar to me. Oh yeah, no, it is totally. But she turns into a dragon too.
No, Snow White. She doesn't turn into a dragon.
I think she. No, is that Sleeping Beauty? Thinking of.
You're thinking of Sleeping Beauty, which is Maleficent.
Man.
Maleficent is Sleeping Beauty.
What the hell happens to the chicken Snow White then? She just get killed.
Tries to poison her with the apple. Then the prince comes and. Shit, man, it has been 2 decades since I've watched Snow White. Whoops.
I don't remember what happens to the bad guy.
Don't quiz me on that one.
Well, whatever. They're all, I guess maybe she is that big of a bad guy because I remember her. But yeah, it just kind of makes the other ones seem watered down. It's like, how big of a threat is this really? Because these guys I'm going to beat and then they're going to be done. But Maleficent just keeps coming back.
I don't know. So I enjoyed the story well enough, I guess. It was kind of in ear, one ear, out the other. I definitely did not enjoy it as much this time around as I did when I was in like junior high.
No, and it's a long game cutscene wise too.
Yeah, it's a lot of, it's step forward, 1 foot. Yeah, one room. Go in one room, clear the enemies. go through a doorway, cutscene. Go into the next room, clear the enemies, go through a doorway, cutscene. And even then, it's like, oh, go back one room, cutscene. Go back one room, cutscene. It's constant. So it becomes a bit much. It's not like Final Fantasy 14 bad, but it's still like, it's a lot of cutscene. And I realized that was kind of like the time at Square Enix of like cutscene was king, basically, from like 2001 to like 2014.
Yeah, because 10's got some long ass cutscenes too.
10 does have some long cutscenes, and a lot of that just kind of, the success of that is dependent upon how good the story is.
Yeah.
I don't think Kingdom Hearts 2's story is that great anymore, but it was fine. I think it was fine. I guess I'm kind of like lukewarm on it.
Yeah.
It didn't blow me away. It wasn't as good as I remembered, so some of that is like a disappointment factor. The Disney stuff feels a little bit forced and never feels as like fleshed out as like the actual Sora story does, which is fine, but I still spend a lot of time in it. So watching Mulan, saving the day is like still a lot of cutscenes of watching Mulan saving the day.
Yeah.
So in that respect, like, I get a little bit bored. I get a little bit tired of watching these things. Some of the spin-off games that come out with Kingdom Hearts, they take a lot less time in the worlds, in their cutscenes in the worlds, which is
kind of nice.
Kind of nice. Because Kingdom Hearts 2, it's a lot. It's not as bad as one. One's worlds, I swear, are a lot longer. At least they feel a lot longer. But it's still kind of there. It's still long in the tooth.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't think it's not like an amazing story. I wasn't like blown away. That rarely happens though with video games for me, honestly. Like, I like the stories in a lot of these Final Fantasies, but they're not like, even the Final Fantasies themselves, I'm not like, holy shit, that was awesome. Like FF16, it was like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool, but
I liked it.
I'm not like thinking about it. Like, I don't think about it at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like something where, like you read a really good book and you think about it for like weeks and you're like, damn.
That's true.
That was really good. Like,
That's true. And there have been some Final Fantasies that gave me that, and some games that have given me that.
Yeah, for sure. This is not one of them.
Not one of them. Although at the time, if you go back to when this was made, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, kill me, that you're dealing with like, it's a different time in video game. And they had just figured out like the cutscene stuff, and this was mid PS2.
Yeah.
And so this is probably like a pretty polished version of a video game story with a lot of pre-rendered cutscenes. Pretty polished in comparison to what was out there.
Yeah.
The other, of course, competition being Final Fantasy and being like Metal Gear Solid, but
yeah,
like I don't think it's to that level, but it's definitely better than most video games, especially around that time.
Yeah, there were still like a lot of junkware games.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, on the PS2 like, for sure.
PS2 was like the freaking dumpster. I love it. It's my favorite. But like anything you want to release it on this, fuck, you can go ahead and release it on this. You do whatever you want.
No quality control.
Insane. Yeah, there's no control at all. Like just whatever they want, they'll take. Yeah, and as weird and confusing as FF10's story is, it's totally better than this, for sure. Yeah. Like, there's more character development, there's more depth in the people, even if the overall story is weird and, like, based on dreams and all this random shit.
Stronger, scarier threats to the character.
Yeah.
In FF10 as well. That is just one of those, like, story things. I think the thing is, like, this is made for kids. Whatever threat towards their world or whatever is not made clear enough to actually like be character motivation, I think. So there's a bit of that. It's like Maleficent and Pete are jokes basically, and the Organization 13 guys, they're there, they're getting in the way, but they're also not that scary either.
Yeah, and I mean half the cutscenes they're just kind of dicking around. Like, for people that don't have any souls, they got some personality. Like,
they do. That confuses the hell out of me.
The
That's
weird
another
surfer
thing.
guy is just like kind of just cracking jokes and fucking around in all their little big chair meetings.
But I guess I don't have a heart, whatever that means.
Yeah. And it's like, what are you guys? How are you talking like this? Aren't you supposed to be like a shell?
Shell of a human being.
Yeah. So I don't think the story is all that great either. It's not super hard to follow though. Honestly, there's a lot of terms and a lot of shit and a lot of names that are really stupid.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I totally have the bad guy, the Ansem Xehanort Diz
No way.
stuff all figured out in my head, but I don't know if I need to. It's like,
Yeah, I don't think it really
they
matters.
want Kingdom Hearts. Stop the thing.
Yeah. And they definitely announce the name Kingdom Hearts a lot more in this one. They say the thing. So, yeah, story, it's okay. I mean, we're getting a little bit of development between Sora and Roxas, but I do feel like you're kind of right. It's kind of watered down by the Disney stuff. And even the Square Enix stuff, like it doesn't really, the Final Fantasy stuff, it doesn't really add to the overall story, because I'm like, this isn't really canon Cloud,
No.
So I don't really get the point of having them in there. Now, the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't have them in there does kind of bother me because it was supposed to be this meld of the two. Plus, the idiocy of the statement of, well, we just put them in there to help them, help them sell and help make my idea come to life. And it's like, oh, you don't think it was Mickey Mouse, the biggest thing that's ever existed, the side of like the Bible, Mickey Mouse, you're going to keep him in there, but you'll get rid of the Final Fantasy guys because you don't need them anymore. Like, come on. Don't give me that shit. It's like the most protected IP of all time up until like 5 years ago, and now it's just a freaking penny whore, apparently. But it's like, yeah. Anyway, and I know lots of people that love Kingdom Hearts and don't play Final Fantasy, and it's because they love Disney.
Yeah,
they love Disney.
I met at least one of those people in high school.
Yeah, I knew a few.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I love Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, it's got Final Fantasy stuff in there. And it's like, well, that didn't even factor into their mind. And I'm like, what did you think of the weird guy with the spiky hair? You didn't think he was a little out of place.
That guy just seemed depressed,
There's just a guy there, and he just shows up in the the Coliseum levels somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
How much of the... Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that in gameplay.
Well, let's talk about gameplay then.
Let's do it. How far did you get in the Coliseum, or did you try any of it?
Didn't even. I gave one try in there, and then I was like,
you bastard.
you have to do some of it for the
bastard. Don't you
about
want to
you?
enjoy these? I did like 3 of them. I got to one where my nightmare enemy, the big fat like Caleb Craig style fire guys. It was
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, those guys are the worst in this game, dude. Like,
they're the worst in all the Kingdom Hearts. You have to get up behind them and smack the hell out of them.
They got the fireballs flying around and they just nail you.
And fire is like a heat-seeking missile. So.
It was a challenge where I could only take like 400 points of damage, whatever that means. And so I would be fine. And then I'd get to the fire guy and he would just fuck me up, dude.
Wow.
And I'm like, I think I got like 2 of the cup trophies. So I know there's questions about fighting Sephiroth. I couldn't, man.
Didn't even get there.
No. I never unlocked it all. I did, I think, 2 of Hades cups.
It was the same thing with Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, they started getting really hard, and I was like...
I did all of them in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Sephiroth does show up in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, oh, I'm going to challenge Cloud. And so I assume that's further Coliseum unlocks, but...
I think so, probably.
I did it until I couldn't do it. And it's like, you got to beat the one to unlock the next, as usual. And that fire guy he was too much for me. And Joe was already 9 games ahead. So I was like, well... I'll do Atlantica. I'll do Winnie the Pooh. I'll do all that shit. Because I really do like Winnie the Pooh. I think it's like wholesome content. I've always liked Winnie the Pooh,
I used to watch on repeat when I was a little kid. I used to watch, there was Winnie the Pooh, like the original movie. And then, which is great. It's just like an anthology film almost. Just so bizarre. thinking back to that. But then they also had The Search for Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
I watched that one a lot when I was a kid. I wonder how that one holds up. I never did see, because they made a movie and they just titled it Winnie the Pooh. I don't know, like 10 years ago, like a Winnie the Pooh came out. That was a cartoon.
Yeah.
Never saw it. How is that one? You got kids, so I'm just guessing that you've seen it.
I've seen the cartoon. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
I haven't watched it with them, but I watched it as probably like a teenager with my little siblings. I thought it was good. But yeah, I really like Winnie the Pooh. I think it's like wholesome content. So like there's nothing wrong with it. It's fun, the characters are silly and so I did that one, but the Coliseum, I was like, dude, I can't just sit here and do this shit. And it's weird because like for some reason, it's not like you can level grind in the Coliseum, and that was pissing me off.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that was something I also noted. I was like,
if I could come here and
why don't I get experience off of these guys?
If I could come level up, then it would make it worth it. Make the extra content worth my time.
Yeah.
That's not worth my time. I'm getting my ass chewed by some of these bosses, and normally I'd be like, oh, let's go to the Coliseum. And it's like, no, fuck you, no experience. Like, what dumbass ever thought that was a good idea? Like, it's just like any other game, fight all the hunts in 12 and 13, in 15, in 16. Experience. It's not just for fucking hunt's sake. Like you level up and then you go do the thing. Yeah, you level up and then you go do what you were stuck on. Like that's what they add the extra stuff for. It's like fighting Sephiroth isn't enough to make me spend forever grinding to get that fat fire bastard to die.
Dude, those roly-poly guys are such dicks. Like I don't know how to describe them. Just giant balloon guys with little heads.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting so tired of Agrabah. Those guys are assholes, dude.
Oh, Agrabah. Yeah, it's the fire ones.
That's like where they all live. All these fat fucks live in Agrabah. And these fat fire breathing.
Can we add that to the opening song?
Yeah, all they got is fat fucking fire breathers and sword swallowers and that goddamn Agrabah. That's why I'm like kind of getting tired of that fucking world, dude. And then they like they either burn the shit out of you or they like sit on you with their girth. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so sick of these fat guys. Like, these impenetrable from the front fat slobs.
That's the awful thing is that you have to get up behind.
Yeah,
if you're under leveled too, it's like awful.
Yeah,
it's
awful. They turn on a dime, man. These guys.
I mean, they will like, dude. When you get 3 of them, and I don't know if it happens. No, yeah, there is a corner of Agrabah where 3 of them will pop up.
Yeah,
and you're in like this little hallway, and it's like the worst. You cannot get behind any of them.
Yeah, it's like as bad as that hallway in Ocarina of Time with the fucking. Guy that's like slamming the ground and sending the shockwave.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't get past. I got like 2 inches of walkway and I gotta get over there because there's a fairy fountain. And this fucking guy, man, he's gonna kill me.
I gotta get to that fairy fountain.
Yeah, gotta go hang out with the fairies.
No, I think the worst thing about that Ocarina of Time is that you would get the fairy fountain, you would get all your health back, and then you'd get fucking slammed in that hallway.
Yeah.
I did eventually figure out how to get around that guy.
Yeah.
The guys in Agrabah, I fought them many times, and it never got easier.
No.
I always hated the dick.
To this day, I still accidentally attack him from the front, and I'm like, idiot.
Or like sometimes, and the problem is risking this, sometimes you can get high enough where you're like hitting them from the above their head.
Yeah.
And that will be a hit. It's not worth it. It's just not even worth the amount of like jumping you have to do and all that.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But so gameplay, it's an action RPG, obviously. Hack and slash elements. Third person, real time, button presses for like attacks, magic items, summons, and combo attacks. They added a reaction command feature, which allows special attacks triggered with the triangle button at specific moments and with specific enemies as well. Yeah. Which kind of like lets you can do kind of combos in this game, which you can like add in the character configuration screen, which you have CP, kind of like what you do with a lot of games or Chain of Memories and stuff, where you and further Kingdom Hearts games where you have like abilities that you can add on to your character, but you only have so many CP, and each of these abilities takes up a certain amount of CP, and you're just kind of doing a math problem where you're like, okay, I want the best abilities, and I want the abilities I know I'm going to use a lot, and then you're filling in slots with your ability commands and all that, so you're able to do combos, and you're able to continue those combos with the triangle buttons. Sometimes you're trying to do something else with the triangle button, and then you accidentally do a combo instead. That happened to me a few times. But that was an added thing with Kingdom Hearts 2. That's a big difference between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. It's like this extra reaction combo system. The other thing that is stupid that they did with Kingdom Hearts 2 versus Kingdom Hearts 1 is that the dodge roll is something you have to earn and get the ability to have in Kingdom Hearts 2 instead of it just being like one of the control schemes automatically. So that was really dumb. And when I got to a certain boss, I had to find out how to get that ability because that's what it would require is blocking and dodge rolls. So that was something that they added for this. The gummy ship was reimagined for improved travel between worlds. Goodness, the gummy ship is one of the stupidest things in this whole entire series, I will say, but at least it was better at Kingdom Hearts 2 than at Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, it was less insufferable in this one. Still not good, but...
Still not good. They got rid of like the bigger blasts thing.
Yeah.
Where you used to have 2 commands with Kingdom Hearts 1, and I could have used that a couple times in Kingdom Hearts 2. For sure.
Yeah, a couple of those boss guys.
There was a boss guy, and I had to restart. Well, I guess I only had one try for every gummy ship, except for one. And there was one
that you died like 4
that
times.
I died like a bunch, and it was
you were getting pissed.
Annoying.
Yeah, that was the one I messaged you. I was like, there's nothing quite as infuriating as dying on the fucking gummy ship mission. I'm like, oh yeah, it is better than 1, just like everybody said. And then I get stuck for like 20 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, God, this isn't even the game. It's a fucking mini game, and it's like, I
just want to get to the world. I can't even get to the world yet. I have to do this stupid arcade game that makes no sense. You're just like mashing a button for forever.
Yeah, just pounding the X button, and then like. It was the guy, he was like a big dude with like a bunch of targets on him, and then he would shoot like missiles that would explode and be like big kind of AoEs. But there'd be like 10 of them, and I'm like, I can't fucking dodge these. They're everywhere. Like, what the fuck? I was getting so mad, dude.
Yeah, there's also an added thing in this one with the drive mode. It's almost like you can change like you build up, I guess, in AP over time. And then you're able to like use that it'll use it up like a fuel for a period of time where you're doing a different kind of attack pattern. And you have like 2 keyblades, and you can whip them out like the wisdom mode or all those things.
There's like a bunch of different versions of Sora that
you can attack in different ways, and oftentimes attack a lot faster. And there's a whole bunch of those drive modes that you can kind of build up and use up. And I started using those in the second half of this game. I used them a lot.
Yeah, they also fully heal you when you activate them.
And then the summons, there's lots of stuff where you can, once you've done a world in this game, you can use one of the Disney characters as a summon if you so choose, and they can help you out either by healing you or coming out and helping you do combos. And so those are other aspects of this game that were either added or enhanced with Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, I think I only used Chicken Little like a couple times, and that was it. There's a cool one with him where you go in like a first-person shooter mode, and you like launch little like beads of stuff.
I never tried Chicken Little, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I took out Pete that way.
I used the genie, and I think that might have been it for this one.
Summons are kind of no factor in this game.
Yeah, because my experience playing this game, first off, it's better. It's for sure better than the first one in terms of its control scheme and physics and hitboxes and everything. It's just a much smoother experience. The added combos is pretty cool. Early on, I played this in normal. I'm playing every other Kingdom Hearts in easy, by the way. I played this in normal. And I I went through and there were some difficult patches in this game. I will say, like the Mulan guys, the big fat roller guys that you're talking about were usually the problem, but there was like these like freakish big dudes in the Mulan level that were a pain in the dick, and they were really aggressive. And the first time going through the Mulan level, really hard for me to deal with and just kind of get used to the combos. And I, of course, had no dodge roll or anything like that. But eventually I kind of got into a rhythm with this game, and I felt like it was generally like pretty well balanced. Like the gameplay combat was challenging enough to have fun with it, but it was generally like a kid easy game.
Yeah.
And that was most of my experience playing this game. It was like generally pretty easy as I was going through, but maybe I would have to restart or something a couple times. Obviously got stuck in the gummy ship for one of them a few times. But I generally like with the bosses, maybe I had to do 2 tries on a boss, but didn't really die or have to replay or continue past that. And then it was like at the end of the fucking game, dude. The end of the game. I was so close. I was like, dude, I'm going to beat this game in 22 hours or something. And I was, no. It was less. It was way less. It was like 6. I was at like 16 hours in this game.
Damn.
And I was like, oh man, I've been plowing this game. First off, when we were playing Chain of Memories and I looked up how to beat Chain of Memories the easy way, I guess, like doing all the slights. People got mad at me for calling them slates. Doing all the slights for Chain of Memories and which ones, just using magic, blizzard, and fire. And when I was doing that, I was looking at, YouTube videos of guys like speed running the Kingdom Hearts games. There's one guy, and I don't remember this channel, but it's pretty much the only guy doing this, who played and beat in a speed run all of the Kingdom Hearts games in 24 hours.
All of them?
All of them.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so he's done a speed run of each of the games in order to beat them all within that period of time.
That's insane.
Crazy, right? It might have been 26 hours, but it was like a day. And
that would have been awesome if you could.
And luckily, he was a YouTuber that like actually talked, because a lot of these speedrunners don't even talk. They just look frozen at the screen and they're doing things, and you're like, I guess they're just doing things and they're not telling me about how to do them. And I have no idea where they're getting the information on how to fucking play these things and like kill it like this. But this guy was at least chatting. He was like, okay, so the thing with Chain of Memories is that, you want Blizzard and you want Fire. It's crazy that, and he just did this as like a secondary little thing. He goes, yeah, it's crazy how OP Fire is in all of the Kingdom Hearts games. So guess who's been using the fire spells like constantly throughout all these fucking Kingdom Hearts games? There are some bosses that will absorb fire, and obviously you can't use it for everything. And sometimes you'll run out of MP and it's a pain in the butt, but like Kingdom Hearts 2, recoded, 358 over however many days, they've all been like the fire, because it's a missile effect too. It's like, it'll do some damage, dude. So it's kind of like the OP thing. So definitely utilize this in Kingdom Hearts 2. But anyway, I was plowing through this whole game. And I was in normal, and I was like, okay, I didn't even have to do easy on this game. This game's pretty easy without having to do, having to go into a lower difficulty level. And you can't even change the difficulty level, because I tried to after I got to this boss in Kingdom Hearts 2.
It's not like number 1.
So I go there, and then I'm in the world that should not be, or whatever the fuck it's called.
That's worst Metallica B-side ever.
And then I get to a hooded figure who I think is Riku, who, get to this world, and you just go down a hallway of like guys that are constantly spawning the little fucking squishy dudes. And I get into this hallway, and then there's a cutscene, and then I'm having to fight this hooded figure. And my God. It was like night and day with the game. I had been playing this game like carefree and like I'm like, fucking, I'm destroying this thing. It's like, I thought this would take me a whole nother week to beat this fucking game. And I'm just like killing it.
Yeah.
This guy is a fucking brick wall, dude. He hits fast. And if he hits you, you're dead within like 3 move sets of his. It is no joke. And I am stuck. I'm stuck on this hooded figure who, of course, turns out to be Roxas. I am stuck like no other motherfucker. And I'm like, okay, I'll try this again. Okay, I'll try change my combos or whatever. And then I'm looking things up. I'm like, I'm getting so stuck. It was, I don't know, like 10 times trying to fucking beat this guy. And it is infuriating because you're not just starting right in front of him.
No, you got to walk down the hallway.
You have to walk down a fucking hallway and then skip a cutscene and then watch a little, because you can't skip any of these. You have to watch like the moveset cutscene because all I want is like instant retry. Please, God. Yeah. All game makers out there, please. Instant retries. We don't want to deal with this fucking save point, go through, watch a cutscene. Even if it's skippable, it's still like time that you're like,
either instant replay or a save point right outside the boss.
Oh, please.
So that you could just skip the scene and then get into it again.
Oh my God, dude. It was getting so frustrating. I was trying out different abilities and everything like that. I go on YouTube and I just try to watch someone beat this guy. And there was something weird going on where I was like typing in hooded figure fight, Kingdom Hearts 2, and like, I don't remember, but it took like way too long to find the thing. And I was getting suspicious. I was like, am I the idiot? Is this thing not hard? Because the harder the boss fight is, the more videos of people beating the boss are gonna be out there. And I was so confused. And I was so confused because I also looked at the IGN guide and it wasn't even written in there.
No, it's not in there.
And I was like, what is that? Like, I'm like, I'm an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why can't I beat this guy? Everybody else seems to beat him. There's
no one's even talking about it.
No one's even talking about this guy. And he's fucking reeling my ass, dude. And I beat everything else super easy in this game. Why is this guy like so frustrating? I go in there. I'm watching one of the YouTube videos of this guy, this fucking savant beating this guy. And I kind of just scroll down through the comments and there's a comment about like, oh, it's great that they added this for the final remix or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. Because one of the thoughts I had was like, I can't believe that I beat this as a kid. Yeah. This is impossibly hard. And it was like, oh, he added him. And I was like, oh my Jesus. And then someone else said that it was Roxas, which I didn't realize. So now I had a search term that I could use that could actually make sense. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. They added this thing. They added the hardest fucking boss of all time as a required boss for the re-release of Kingdom Hearts 2. He doesn't exist in the other ones. And so... yeah, after I had that information, then I could look up Roxas and I could look up other people having trouble on him. And basically, like, one of the Reddit comments, which was insightful, it was very insightful, was like, yeah, he's basically added as a boss for players who had already played and beaten and were very familiar with Kingdom Hearts 2 mechanics.
Yeah.
So this is like a bonus for those players.
Yeah, as incentive to get the remix kind of a thing.
Right. And so, like, that means it's made to exploit to the ends of the earth the ability section of this game. And so, basically, what I had to do, and this was like, this stopped me, I think, for 5 to 6 hours of real time in my life. And it added a lot to the game time that I was doing. I beat this in like 26 hours. I'm trying to remember. It added a lot because then in order to get these abilities that I was seeing other people use and other people were suggesting to use on this boss, it was like, I didn't even have these things. Yeah. I didn't have them at all. So I had to grind through and get new abilities. It's not just grinding for levels, which were some of that, but it was also you can grind those drive modes like wisdom form and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those, if you use those forms enough and you get a certain amount of like kills on those forms, you also get abilities unlocked through that. Including the fucking dodge roll and like the reaction with the block command. Dude, I wasn't using block this entire fucking game.
No.
Because it's almost unnecessary. You don't get hit hard enough in this game.
Yeah, the problem with this game too is the block is really slow.
Oh yeah,
so
the timing is bad.
Shit.
Except that I had to get really good at it with a certain boss named Roxas. So I legitimately leveled up 12 times. Because I was the level minimum for that world. Basically, I got there, I was actually under leveled, and then I leveled up to that so that I was like, oh, well, I'm about to do the final boss. I better be the level that they suggest.
Yeah.
So I already started this whole thing with some grinding. And then it became like, oh my God, I can't even touch this guy. And I don't have the abilities. So I was just grinding levels, and I was grinding abilities through the forms, and I did that for 5 to 6 hours. Once I had figured out how to actually like what I was doing, I would basically level up 3 times, try him a few times.
Did you just
level up another 3 times, try him a few times? Which luckily there were items that were dropped in the world previous with like the selfie and Yuna and stuff. They give you like a kingdom key that if you keep your health low, you'll get like so much more experience.
Yeah.
They had one, and then there was another item that also gave you extra experience. And so like it wasn't as slow as it could have been, but it was still pretty slow to level up that many times.
Yeah, what I started doing when I got further in is anytime it wasn't boss fight time, I would just have both of those things equipped and just be cranking the XP.
Oh, okay.
That guy only took me, I think I beat him on my 4th try. It was 4th or 5th. And I almost beat him the time before. Like the health bar was almost not visible.
Isn't that great? Yeah, because like the 3rd time I tried that boss, I almost beat him too.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't touch him again hours.
That happened to me in Dark Souls 3. I almost beat this
The
guy.
RNG just helped me on one of them, but it still wasn't enough.
I almost beat this infamous fight. I think it was Dark Souls 1. And like the first try, I got like close. And it was like 8 hours. I swear to God. I couldn't do it. And that's the thing I love about Dark Souls, though. You can like type in the area and then as many expletives as you want. And like there will be a Reddit post where someone's like, what the fuck? Like, what is with this fucking area and these pricks shooting these fucking arrows? I can't walk. How do I get through this shit? It's like no matter what string of swear words you put together, someone else also has said that on a Reddit post. It's like, what the fuck? So that's what I love about those, because I'll just be like, God fucking damn it. And just like look at my phone and type in like cunt level, blah, blah, blah. And like the same thing comes up from some other guy who's like screaming like 10 years ago.
Dude.
Yeah, he was tough. He was fast as hell.
He was tough, and I had to basically learn the battle system in a totally different way from what I was playing the whole time. Like I was just playing button mash, kind of get out of the way, use some magic. That's what I was doing. And this one, it was like, no, I have to have my block timing down, my counter down, and my dodge roll, and I have to have the fast dodge roll and like the zoom thing in order to get out of the way of his like hellish balls balls of light that come at you, and they're like, again, another heat-seeking missile function in this game, and you're just like, you just have to dodge roll in a circle. And you will eventually get hit most of the time, but at least you dodged, half of the balls, so you won't be dead after that effect. Man, oh man, that guy for me, and I was, I could have been more leveled when I got there if I didn't speed through the game. And if I was doing the Coliseum stuff, my guess is that I would have learned the gameplay a little bit better, mechanics better. But man, when I got there, it was like a brick wall, dude. It was rough.
Yeah, I think I had more trouble.
That's only for this version.
Yeah, I had more trouble on the surfer guy's fight. And it was only because I didn't realize when he does the like thing where you're on that little platform and he just shoots you over and over and over again. I thought that was like undodgeable. Then I started to figure out, no, if you like border the edges at a certain speed, he'll
Yeah, you can kind of run from him.
Yeah.
I had no problems throughout the entire rest of this game outside of like getting stuck in one of the gummy areas and then that guy.
The final boss.
Final boss for me was one try.
Really?
Yeah.
All forms?
All of it.
Damn, now it took me way more than one on the final. So yeah, there were some tough fights.
But then I was over leveled, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't do the extra
in order
grind.
to get those abilities, and I just ground until he was beatable.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even use magic really in this game. I barely use magic. I just use cure.
I think it required I might have my levels wrong, but like whatever the suggested level was for the final area, I was like 6 levels above it or something, or more. No, I was more than that. No, because I got to and then I added 12 levels. So it was like, I think it's level 40, and I think it was level 52 when I beat the game. Something. I was way over leveled.
I was probably around the 50s when I beat it.
Okay.
So not too crazy. I took 31 hours to beat it.
Okay, mine was like 26 or something.
Yeah, and I did a couple of the Coliseum fights, like 3 of the cups, the extra Winnie the Pooh level, and the Atlantica, and whatever. I did every world, whatever worlds there were, I did. So
mistake. Oh,
yeah.
Actually, the first time I played this game, I want to say it was 32 hours. The first time when I played it, and
it was like almost the
whatever.
exact amount of time that Kingdom Hearts 1 took. But there's still more stuff that I haven't done in this one. Whereas Kingdom Hearts 1, I think I did everything. I think I beat all of the Coliseum. Like it was all done. I just
didn't do Sephiroth
in 1. I think I did, not in 2.
You did Sephiroth in 1?
I think so.
Isn't that a super fucking hard boss fight? That's what I've heard. I don't think you did.
Maybe I didn't. I thought I did everything in
I don't
1.
remember. I would have. Yeah, we would have been probably talking about that for a while.
The only one that I remember hearing about was Sephiroth in 2.
I'm sure you played. I played some of the Coliseum in 1 as well, but I didn't go all the way up. It wasn't worth it.
I'll have to look at my trophy list, see if I beat him. But I did a lot more in 1, and it was about the same amount of time. It was like 32 hours, just about.
Yeah, so I enjoy the gameplay of this one. I thought it was good. I didn't like getting the brick wall and I did understand the game a lot more after that. Believe me. And it would be interesting to kind of go back and do all the fights and everything like that. I think it's a good, really solid hack and slash game. Definitely a big improvement over the first one. This is where, like, when we were playing 15, in my mind, like the gameplay comparison was close to this one. Where like the gameplay for Final Fantasy 15 was really similar to Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
And I still kind of feel that way. There's no like jumping around and being in the midair, but there is like the warps and the special attacks and the run. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of similarities, especially because 15 was like the first one that like really changed the battle system into something modern, and this is kind of like what modern is.
Yeah,
this hack and slash element to these RPGs.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's better. I think it's better gameplay wise than the first one for sure. There's a lot more like customization. There's a lot more in the combat. It's still a little bit weird, but. Yeah, I guess I didn't beat him. I have 2 more trophies in the Coliseum to do in 1.
Okay.
But I do think it's smoother. There's a lot more like quick attacks, like you were mentioning earlier, like the triangle button will appear and you can like really wreck these guys in some certain way. That stuff was really cool. Sometimes it was annoying though, because like you said, you're trying to use triangle for something else and it kind of interrupts that, or like it's a really fast like thing and you don't really understand what it's trying to get you to do. So there's some frustration in the combat, but overall, it's definitely smoother than Kingdom Hearts 1 and is a pretty good experience. The gummy ship, like we said earlier, is also better. This one takes the cake as far as gameplay goes in the series up to this point, for sure.
Yep. So real quick, I don't think we're gonna. I'm not even gonna make a new section for this because we're not gonna talk about it that long. What do you think of the look of this game and the soundtrack?
The look of it, I mean, it looks as good as Kingdom Hearts 1 remix, so it's hard to say. For PS2, it probably looked pretty good, I would think. Although I don't know, I never played it on the actual PS2. Couple things are improved. They kept most of the voice cast, so that was nice. The music is essentially the exact same as the first game, which, you know, it's good remixes of the areas, unless you want to stream it, and then they'll kick you off. But it all sounds great. The voice acting is good. Everyone's performance is awesome. You know, it was cool hearing Christopher Lee in the game. That was a surprise. I was like, is that Saruman right there? Like, damn, I didn't know he was in this game. That's pretty cool. And then he's there for like 8 minutes of dialogue, maybe. I don't
Legendary actor Christopher Lee.
Yeah. And I could totally see him doing a video game too, because he's kind of like he's like a weird guy. He's got like a metal band and like
had a metal band.
Yeah, no, he's dead now, but yeah, he's a crazy dude. And apparently he's like part of the inspiration for James Bond, because he's related to the author that wrote James Bond, and the author has mentioned before that it was partly Christopher Lee, because he was in this.
Christopher Lee was he was in the Secret something. I don't remember whatever the British version of that is, and he, I guess, like probably did a lot of espionage and probably killed some people back in like World War II or something, and it's like.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty crazy. They talk about it in the Lord of the Rings commentaries. Where they're like, that's not how a person sounds when they're stabbed. It's like, I guess you would know that.
He's like, no, it's more of like an exhale, because all the air goes out of your lungs, isn't it?
That's pretty crazy. I gotta look more into that guy. I gotta find a biography or something. Sounds like an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's a weird dude. But I could totally see him doing a video game. And so it was cool hearing him. But again, everyone else was on point. It was good performances. Even the weirdness of like the Organization 13 guys, most of them are hooded most of the time, so you kind of have to give them a little bit of personality.
I'm going to miss Axel. I mean, 358 seems to be a prequel, so it's like Axel's there, but Axel was kind of my favorite, like, Organization 13 guy.
So he's just dead now?
Now he's just gone.
All right, well, maybe.
I think. I'm sure. Who knows? Who knows? It's Nomura. He'll find something.
Yeah, and I mean, we did talk to that voice actor at KupoCon, so he seemed to, although he's mostly just scared him, thinking they were fucking him again or something.
That's right.
But so I don't know. Maybe there is more Axel, but yeah, he is kind of the best one. He's the most like human one, I would say. He's kind of, he's not just like a robot.
He's not a nobody. He's a somebody to me.
Yeah, there you go. It's very touching.
All right, let's get into reviews and questions.
Let's do it.
All right. So I will pick up the Discord if you get the email. Hail Blue asks Kingdom Hearts 2 question. Do you think they should have stopped making them after this game?
I've already beaten Recoded, and I don't think so. I mean, I think they're fun. I think it's not the worst series, I don't think
it's not mana.
Yeah, it's not torture. Not bamboo splints under the fingernails. I think they should
Crystal Chronicles.
I think they should have made some more areas, but I don't think they should have made stop making the games. I think these are fun games. I'm glad we're playing them.
It's tough. I don't know if all these spin-offs are that necessary, but at the same time, there are gameplay things in these spin-offs so far that have been interesting, especially for the handheld titles that they're on. So in other words, I don't think, spoilers for the Recoded review. I liked the gameplay in Recoded a lot.
Yeah.
And 358 over 2 days. Not hating the gameplay in that one either. So in terms of like a dumb game to play when you're just sitting around with your handheld device, it's not too bad. I'm interested in seeing, I guess, where Kingdom Hearts 3 goes. If this is what people are saying, this is where it should have ended. Or if people are maybe putting more emphasis on the story than I am when I'm playing these games.
Yeah.
Because I'm not giving that much of a shit of the stories when I play them. If Kingdom Hearts had roped me in more, maybe that would have been different. But and I am getting annoyed by all the cutscenes in 358 over 2 days. But there weren't that many cutscenes encoded.
No, not barely any.
And Chain of Memories also didn't even have that many cutscenes, and that was before this, obviously. So, but I'm still thinking like spin-offs so far. So I don't know. I don't know if I really feel that way from the gameplay side of things that much.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way they handled the story in this series. It's kind of genius in like a no one's going to do it kind of way. So it's like all of the games are the next game.
Yeah.
So
people were like,
1,
where's Kingdom Hearts 3? And it's like, well, actually there's
2 is 3,
plenty of
kinda.
sequels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird way to do it, but it's like, I think it's kind of a cool way to do it. It's like, no, we're taking all of these games seriously, because otherwise you got like the shovelware that Final Fantasy became at a certain point, where it's like, just slap that name on it and put that bitch out and we'll sell it. And now it's like, no, it's just like, this is Nomura's thing. And like every game is going to have little bits of story. Some of them barely, but it's still, this is sequentially the next game.
I bet that's it. I bet it's because it's all under one person's leadership. Like Kingdom Hearts is Nomura's creation through and through. And so there's a consistency in that, at the very least. That's kind of pulling the series together. Now, when Nomura eventually retires, who knows? Keith Beard asks, do you think this game would have benefited if it had completely cut all the black robe people and focused entirely on the Disney theme plotline?
No, I think it would have been worse.
I think the opposite, yeah.
I kind of think the Disney makes it cheesy and sort of silly. I like the worlds because this is mostly classic Disney, so far at least. I know there's a Frozen level in the third one, but mostly classic Disney up to this point. So it's fun reliving all those movies. You know, this is stuff we watched when we were kids. So I think it's cool. But to make that the focus of it, no.
No, I don't think that. I think you're shoving the story into a world that doesn't belong there. And then the other one is organic with Kingdom Hearts, as convoluted as it can be with like the setting. It doesn't make any sense. But
yeah.
So in that way, the Disney one is almost the one that sticks out like the sore thumb, I guess. But I guess it's a decent job of blending the two. I don't really think the other way. More variation in the worlds, as we've already said, would have been kind of the thing. I think that would have improved the experience in terms of that stuff. But who knows?
Yeah.
Do you wish they would have not put FF characters in it so you didn't have to play it? Do you want to be honest?
I mean, if I had to choose between playing and not playing these, I guess maybe I'd choose not playing these, but I haven't hated it. I've gotten like really pissed multiple times, but it's just because it's brutal randomly out of nowhere. There's some of that in the next game too. But I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to play these, and I don't mind playing another like long running series because there's not that many games. You know, it's like what, like 8 or something.
It's 9,
and we're already done.
Almost halfway.
Yeah, we're basically halfway done with these things, and I've not hated it. I've not dreaded it. It's cool.
Thankfully, they're not as bad as people were saying they were.
Yeah.
So far in the spin-offs and everything. So I don't regret playing them. The only thing that is like, I'm just trying to get this podcast done, and this podcast has been going for 10 years. And so like, it's like, okay, yeah, if I didn't have to play, because I set this up years ago to play, you know, all these Kingdom Hearts games, yeah, that would have been nice. It would have been some time saved.
Yeah.
But the games themselves and the actual like experience playing the games, not terrible so far. Not terrible.
No.
I do make fun of them a lot, but
Yeah.
it's not terrible. Do you feel ashamed when interacting with characters marketed towards toddlers, or do you just tuck your sack between your legs and embrace your inner child?
I mostly just tuck the sack. Dude, I'm telling you, like, the fucking Winnie the Pooh levels are kind of my favorite in, like, a weird way, just because it's just cool. I've always liked Winnie the Pooh.
It always
like
makes me want honey, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, you have access to honey, too.
I want a goddamn jar of honey right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Access to honey? You mean a grocery store right now?
No, I mean a beekeeper father. A shit ton of honey.
Yeah, I do have a shit ton of honey. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. Honestly, the most cringy stuff comes from the dialogue between Sora, Goofy, Donald, and Mickey.
Yeah, more so in the last game than this one. The last game was brain dead. That was like straight up like you just had a stroke and then you wrote it. Like, it's bad. This one less so, but
there's still plenty of like cringiness in it.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of sacks, now that we're on the subject of that, our sponsor for today's episode is Manscaped. Save those family jewels, guys. We have the Performance Package 4.0. Our UFF code is still live on manscaped.com. They sent us graciously. They sent us the 2.0 package or 4.0 package. Sorry, and it's awesome. Like, I love all this stuff.
Yep, I use it.
I just shave everything with it.
I use it once a week. It's pretty great. Works really well. Way better than my previous trimmer for sure. I don't get nearly as many nicks or anything like that, and it's overall a much smoother experience for me and anyone involved with me.
Yeah, I've definitely not nicked my sack nearly as many times with this thing as I have with other stuff, which is nice, you know.
It's nice. They also have like guards on there, and you can give yourself like a good, trim level. You don't have to totally take out the grass around the mailbox. You can just trim the grass around the mailbox.
Yeah.
And that should make your mailbox stand out high.
Yeah. And just in case there's for some reason, there's grass growing out of the mailbox itself, it's good for that too. I will say the only worse place than cutting your sack is cutting your mailbox. Because that one gets a little more blood flow.
Well, it depends on how turned on you are, I guess.
Yeah.
Shaving yourself, which of course with Manscaped, you can't help. You can't help but be turned on by it.
Yeah. I love that it's waterproof too. It's awesome. I just use it in the shower. And the battery lasts like forever, dude. Like, I haven't charged this thing.
Oh, I always just kind of keep it hung up. I didn't realize how long the battery lasts.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
good.
it's pretty good.
I've had previous trimmers in the past that have like died on me, and it's been not a good experience when I've like shaved half my face or something like that. You're like, God damn it!
You're like, shit, I gotta go to work, man. I'm like half mast here.
Yeah. So actually, like a legit, even if they weren't our sponsors, I would recommend Manscaped.
Yeah.
So Manscaped.com, use the code UFF to save some money.
Yeah, you can get the 4.0 package. They throw in a couple free gifts, the boxers and then the Shed travel bag.
My girlfriend likes the boxers, by the way.
Yeah.
She's like, I like those. Where do you get those? I'm like, I got them from I got them from manscaped.com.
Use promo code UFF. Yeah, no, I really do like it though. I would recommend it either way. And the ball deodorant, it smells pretty good. Yeah, makes your balls smell nice.
Yeah.
Which is a nice change,
yeah.
I would say. Speaking of sacks, of course.
Yeah, speaking of sex, Shinru asks, did you beat Sephiroth or at least try the fight? For me, no. I know Sephiroth is a super boss, and I just was like, I'm not going to grind this thing to death in order to actually take this guy on.
Yeah, same. I've kind of reverted to, and it's part of it's, we want to finish this stuff up. And that's well known. It's not that we're tired of podcasting. There's just a lot of games, man, and it's taking a lot of time, and like it's brutal. So we're trying to be done here, or at least current.
Yeah, and these aren't Final Fantasy games, so I feel like less inclined. Like with 16, we did a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah.
With 15, we did all the extra stuff, and with 7 Remake, we did all the extra stuff. So it's
Including
a little different. Like
twice.
This is Kingdom Hearts. Like,
yeah, so I'm not as invested.
Whatever.
And really, when it comes to like 100%ing or like platinuming or whatever you want to call it, a game, it either has to be a series that I'm really into. So like Final Fantasy, that's why I'm trying to get all of those. Or it has to be a game that it's either 3 things: game I really like, series I really like, or something that I'm like kind of close to and I can justify the extra time just to 100% it.
Yeah.
Like I did the SpongeBob game. I got the platinum in that. And it's like, it really only took like 4 extra hours.
Good point.
And I'm like, well, screw it. I love hearing getting that dopamine hit from that platinum. So
I will say it's exactly the same for me, but I guess I have a lower threshold for what I mean by close or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, like I think the last game, like I organically was like, I don't care how long this takes. I want to do as much as I can. Before my life got like way too busy with it. It was like Far Cry Primal. I was like going through it. I was trying to get everything before I had to give that game back to Cameron.
Yeah.
And it was like crazy stupid how like into that game I got. I will say like Final Fantasy VII Remake, that was an easy one to platinum.
Yeah, it was
Because
really
I was
good.
like, I want to replay it. I want to get this extra stuff. It's not supposed to be stupid, ridiculously hard. Even the super boss in that game, it was hard and it took a lot of tries, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. So
yeah, I found a build online that made it pretty easy. Pretty
good.
easy. Now, the problem with that one is you have to beat all of the summons and then you got the super fight. But the build still worked. So yeah, it's just a different level of an investment for me, and like I tried to do as much of this Coliseum stuff as I could, and I would have kept going if I would have been able to beat the spot I was in. But I was like, well, I'm stuck. I'm not getting any levels from here. I'm just going to go play the game. And that's how I've kind of treated each of these games so far. It's not that I'm obsessing over and trying to beat it out. It's just as much as it's utilized for extra stuff or help, I'll do it. But again, unfortunately, no XP, which is like mindless to me. It's like crazy how they would do that.
Kingdom Hearts 2 questions from Brulo. Dumbest made up words or names in this game?
D's.
Diz is pretty bad. Yeah, Diz. Ansem, because he's an Ansem man. He's quite handsome.
Yeah.
If I do say so myself. Yeah, Zexian, Zillions, Marlexia, Axel, like all the X names. Hilarious. Like, why don't they call it Organization X or Organization 10? Why is it 13 and they're adding a bunch of X's in there? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Those were dumb. I definitely think the nobody thing was pretty dumb. Understandable, but just dumb. I guess that's kind of it. Definitely some stupid terms, and then the names are just crazy zany. Like they don't make any sense. And that's what kind of makes the worlds mashing together not make sense too, is because you get like Pete, like a name, a normal name, Donald, normal name, past president's name, like, and then you got Zexion. It's like, what is that? And I get that it's like a totally different universe, but that's what makes it weird. Is there two universes colliding? It's like this is what happens when galaxies collide. Like nothing makes sense.
This is what it's like when worlds collide.
Yeah.
Prediction to where the story would possibly go over this in 3. Go after this in 3. What do you think is going to happen at Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, I believe a bad guy is going to come around, maybe Maleficent or something, and they're going to start causing some shit again in order to get their Kingdom Hearts built. And then Sora's going to he's going to be all grizzled, and he's going to be like, every time I thought it was out, they pull me back in.
Yeah.
And then he has to go and he has to save the world.
Yeah, he's going to be like Chris in Resident Evil 8. He's going to be like kind of fat, Hasn't shaved in a couple days, and it's just like, all right, I guess we're doing this. Just goes in. Looks like he used to lift like crazy, but he's getting kind of old man now, so he's like a little flabby looking. And then he's gonna go do the thing. I honestly, this is one of those things I was thinking about when I saw this question, where I was like, I don't really think about like what's gonna happen next, unless it's something I'm like really, really into. Like if it's like Game of Thrones Book 6, I'm thinking about what's gonna happen next. Maybe 8 years ago, after I read them all, or 10 years ago, actually. Sorry. Actually, it was 12. But when the last one came out, I was thinking about it a lot. And, you know, I came up with theories, and like even before I read online that the Hound wasn't dead, I was like talking to Christian, the guy who introduced me to the books, and I was like, oh yeah, he's totally alive. He's this dude in this village. Like, it's so clear to me. And I was like so into it. But like this, I'm not even thinking about that, dude. I'm not thinking about Kingdom Hearts. I'm thinking about Kingdom Hearts 3 because I think it's going to be fun. Because it's like the most modern. It's on a PS4. Yeah. Like it's up to snuff. We're not just doing remasters of old PS2 games anymore. This is the new entry, and that part is exciting. And to see what worlds they bring me into. Like hopefully some new ones. I know there's the Frozen one and
built on the same engine as your favorite Conan Exiles.
Yeah, it's got the greatest. It shares the engine with the greatest game of all time. So that's exciting too. I feel like that's where the similarities will end, unfortunately. But I'm mostly looking forward and thinking about the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3, not so much where the story goes.
Will the Steamboat Willie worlds show up in Kingdom Hearts 4, or are you more likely to get a black Ariel in Atlantica? Again.
I mean, I bet that, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I bet we're going to get Black Ariel. Yeah. I'm going to resist saying what I was going to say. But the actor, okay, look, the actress's eyes are really far apart.
We're not doing that. Okay.
So it just reminds me, like, oh, she is half fish, so I got to remember that. Like, there's certain angles that I've seen photos of that movie, and like I could not help but laugh. I'm like, that just seems exaggerated.
Okay, here's what bothers me about that criticism is that this is a little girl we're talking about here.
Yeah, I know. She's got to be like 18, right?
Now you have like a good segment of the population that doesn't want Black Ariel at all. And then you have another segment of the population that's making fun of how she looks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm bothered by that.
I mean, look.
That's why I never jumped on that train when I saw people making fun of her in our chats or anything. Yeah, I was like, I'm not getting on that.
You can tell that they made it for pander's sake.
The director claims that that's not the case.
But at the same time,
the director claims that she was the one who had the best auditions and had the best voice, and that's who they decided to go with.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, I can believe that she might have, but I don't believe that it didn't play any factor. But regardless of that, I mean, Sebastian is in the movie. He is like Jamaican.
Yeah.
He's got a Jamaican accent. The real loss was the fact that they didn't. What game was it? No, there was something that I had watched or did recently where they like changed the. Oh no, it was Game of Thrones. That was in the House of the Dragon. That was one of the jokes I made. I was like, dude, you know how awesome it would have been if they just gave all of the other house like Jamaican accents, like hard Rasta Jamaican accents. Like that would have been fucking awesome. Like that would have been so cool. Like, it's like, oh, I was gonna get on the old whirly bird, take him down, Damien. Like that would have been fucking amazing. And then they didn't. I was like, missed opportunity. But it is true though. Sebastian does talk like a Jamaican, so it makes sense. And I mean, I'm sure she's fine. I haven't watched it because I don't like the idea.
I'm not
of
watching one. I don't care. Like this whole subject aside about changing casting decisions based on race. I'm never watching one of those fucking live action Disney remakes ever, period. And so I'd like, yeah, we can have a conversation about it, but I don't even think those movies should exist.
No, I don't either. So it's like you're against it from the beginning, so you don't have to get in trouble for what you say.
I'm just not going to watch it.
It's like I wasn't going to do it anyway.
I haven't watched a single one of those fucking remakes except for like the original Tim Burton one, which is the one that caused all this shit.
Which one was that?
The Alice in Wonderland live action.
Oh yeah, he was that was the first one.
That was the first one. He started this shit. Thanks, Tim Burton.
Asshole.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've only watched the Sleeping Beauty one. It was kind of dumb.
Sleeping Beauty or Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, Beauty and the Beast. Sorry, and I don't even know the names. I just of all these things I cherish and make fun of when they ruin.
Sleeping Beauty with the Maleficent was the one. The Sleeping Beauty one. The Angelina Jolie. Oh, you know what I did actually? I lied. I watched that Dalmatians one, the Cruella movie.
Oh, I kind of watched
that one.
I think it was on.
It was two really good lead performances in a really stupid fucking movie.
Yeah, I remember seeing the scene where they like open up the thing and the moths like ate all the dresses or something.
That one was fine.
That's about all I remember.
I have problems with dogs who know how to pick locks. I got real issues with bad CGI dogs.
That is an issue.
Doing crime.
Those fucking criminal dogs.
In a movie that's supposed to be the real world, but then suddenly have superpower dogs, and none of the dogs are real. I swear to fucking God, not a single dog in that movie is a real ass dog.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just do it in CGI. That's like Disney's new like mode.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so bad. It's so corny. It's so stupid. It's eye rolling when you're watching it.
The one that looks even worse though is the Snow White dude. Like that's crazy. They've got like 3 dwarfs, and then everyone else is just normal. And I'm like, what the fuck? You have, and I get it.
Dude, all the politics around that situation are hilarious.
And I get it, but I'm like, look, Peter Dinklage, I'm sorry, bro. You're only famous because you're a dwarf. The reason why you got cast in Game of Thrones, it's not because you're a good actor. You are. It's because you're a fucking dwarf. And they needed a fucking dwarf. That's why you blew up, man. Like it's not that that's all you can do, but it's like, you know, they have Nicolas Cage roles that are for Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage just accepts that shit. Because he knows it's a Nicolas Cage role, which is why he's in it, you know?
Well, and he's got child support payments.
Yeah. And he's got to let down his uncle.
Got so much alimony.
He's got to let down Francis Ford Coppola every day. You're like, but yeah, it's like, that one looks like a disaster, but
yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if I can have an opinion on that one, but you hear like some of the dwarf actors are like, fuck you, Peter Dinklage, and then Peter Dinklage is like the only guy, it seems like, from what I've seen in the press, that it's like
that was like pissed
that they're making that movie at all is what he had a problem with, I think.
Yeah.
More so than they're making dwarves. He's like, it's offensive to dwarfs to do that movie at all. And then, of course, they make it, then they don't cast dwarfs in the dwarf roles.
I wonder how he feels about that part of it. He's like, now it's even worse. So they just got randos they found being the dwarves, and then they still have dwarves.
Oh, I mean, they got that fucking creepy Oompa Loompa in that new Willy Wonka movie that's coming out with the Timothée Chalamet. And it's like, it's Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa.
What?
So they don't have a dwarf playing an Oompa Loompa. They have a normal sized person in like that has been visually effects reduced in size.
Now they're just erasing dwarfs.
Now they're just erasing dwarfs from Hollywood.
Yeah. See, they're just dwarf.
Super complex situation. I will not have an opinion about. I'm just gonna stand in the corner and just watch from the outside because I'm like,
it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Because I don't really have an opinion on that either. I do think that is the truth, though, with Peter Dinklage. Like, the reason why you got cast as Tyrion Lannister is because you are short. Like,
Well,
And
that's
you-
the character in the book.
Yeah, and it's like you did do other movies, but like
He did,
that's like
and he
the
did
thing, man.
the station agent. He's really good in, but again, like the character is that he's a dwarf and he feels like an outsider in the station agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was before Game of Thrones, and he's really good in that. He's just a fantastic actor, and he plays like, I know he's played roles since Game of Thrones that were not necessarily written for a dwarf to play, and sure, it's cool that he can do that and he can be in other roles, but then there are going to be some written parts for dwarves occasionally.
Yeah, and that's when you like really cash in on the fact that you're a dwarf, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the time to be alive and short.
Yeah.
But and then like the with the new one, Snow White, like the actress is like, she talks a lot. She says a lot of like things that are like really dumb.
I'm not paying attention because again, I'm not going to watch any of those live action.
I
Disney
feel you. Yeah,
remakes.
I definitely am not going to watch this one.
It's like, what, you guys ran out of fairy tales to make into cartoons that do $1 billion? Like, really? You guys had to do the live action cash cows?
I know, that's what's so weird about it. It's like, and then the freaking, oh man, there's like in the Little Mermaid one, there's like a freaking song from that, what is her name? It's the Asian lady that's in like everything. Aquafina, yeah. She's got the freaking water name. She's like
the woman
like
named
Fiji,
named after a brand of
Mountain
water.
Springs. Like close. Dasani. I think Dasani is actually more of a normal. Like it sounds like a.
Aquafina is a stage name. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's also really good. But
no, she is. But there's a song in there. I've heard it, dude. It is. Oh man!
Oh, she's singing it. Is that?
Yeah.
I didn't know she was in it. I thought you were saying she wrote the song.
No, she's in the movie. And there's a song that I heard, and I was like, "Oh man, this is like bad. This is a terrible." It's called Scuttlebutt, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, if you ever need a reason to not watch those, just listen to that song. I was like, "Damn." But anyway,
okay.
That would be interesting if they pull the live actions into the Kingdom Hearts.
Well, why would they pull the live action of the cartoon? See, no one cares about those things, even when it's on Disney Plus. Do you think when you are, let's say, twice as a father, what are the kids more interested in watching? The live action remakes of the cartoons or the actual cartoons?
Definitely the actual cartoons for sure.
Yeah.
So they're not watching the live actions. They don't have really any interest in it.
So as far as I can tell, the live actions, unlike the other ones, so these Disney library titles, like who knows how many gazillions of dollars Snow White has made Disney over time from not only the IP and the toys, but the multiple re-releases of the actual movie itself. Gazillions of dollars.
Yeah, untold amounts of money.
These live action remakes, they get the one time where they make a bunch of money and they're not going to be worth anything in 20 years. Because they're not going to be classics that people rewatch.
No, the only
they're
thing
already not. No one gives a fuck about these.
The only thing they do is bring up like new toy lines for the actual movies. You know, like when the new ones will come out, they'll have like, oh yeah, you'll go to the Disney store as you do when your wife's obsessed with Disney. And they're like, oh, the new movie's coming out. Here's a new re-release of like the set for, you know, Snow White or whatever it happens to be. But I think that is just more of like, oh yeah, the nostalgia of, oh yeah, there's the actual movie. We should go watch that. And
like, do you want to watch the Beauty and the Beast remake or do you want to watch the original amazing Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and they didn't even get Dave Mustaine to play the prince. That was really disappointing. The guy was already
a little too old.
Yeah, I know. Well, the guy in the movie was too old already. I was like, fuck it, just put the guy who you made it after, based it on in the movie. He's like
definitely based it on
35 years older than Emma Watson instead of 20 years older.
For anybody not understanding the reference, go ahead and rewatch Beauty and the Beast after watching some 90s footage of Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and you'll understand what's happening.
Yeah, it's uncanny.
Favorite Disney world in the game? Mine was Pirates because I was legit shocked that they made the live action world look so good. You know, now that you brought it up, Black and White Minnie or Black and White Mickey Mouse, like Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie was awesome. I think that one for sure was my favorite.
I thought it was super creative, interesting, kind of funny. And the other ones are just like game. We already saw these and they're improved at least, but we already saw these areas. And then like the Pirates area, the area was fine. I was just kind of cringing at the fact that I was hearing people who were not the people from the movie doing the voices, and that I think that threw me off from that world personally.
Yeah. It seems kind of like they went cheap.
What are your most wanted worlds from Kingdom Hearts 4? Mine would be Star Wars Hoth or Mustafar, Sol, and James and the Giant Peach. They could have done James by this point.
Yeah, I really liked that movie when I was a kid.
I did too. I haven't seen it since then, though.
I liked the idea of like them eating the peach. For some reason, that was like so cool to me. I was like, oh man, it's the ship and the food.
I want to rewatch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day I want to watch all the Disney movies except for the live action remakes.
Yeah, like I've still never seen Tron. I've never watched
Tron's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Based on the gameplay in this one, I'm like, oh, it seems like someone kind of knew a little bit about technology when they made the movie, but not really. But they just kept it.
Tron is visually miraculous. And what they were doing with visual effects at the time, really cool. The movie's okay. Like, it's just like, it's all right.
Yeah.
I never saw the sequel. I never saw Legacy.
No, me neither. That looked really cool. Like again, visually, it looked cool. But
this is from Frost. Did you enjoy seeing Uni, Riku, and Pain again?
No.
As the fairies.
No, I thought that was really stupid.
Me too.
Because they were fairies. Worlds I want to see, though. So we can actually answer.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be cool to see Star Wars for sure. Now that Disney owns that IP, I can't... It like boggles the mind that it wasn't in 3 already. Star Wars would be cool.
Death Star inside the Death Star might be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a cool level. What other Disney IPs? I mean, they have all of Marvel.
Again, like there's a million they could take from. And it's not so much like which ones am I looking forward to? Because honestly, they took my favorites already, like Aladdin and Lion King and Hercules and Beauty and the Beast.
And this game actually gave us a Lion King level instead of just Simba as a summon.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So
because they're already in there, it's kind of like, well, I'm kind of tapped out on Disney favorites. Like I'm definitely a kid from the 90s, so a lot of like the Disney Renaissance films were the ones that like I grew up on and liked the most and rewatched over and over again.
Yeah, which would be Little Mermaid. It would be Aladdin. It would be...
Yeah, it's 85 to 2001. So all the Disney movies in there. Hunchback.
I liked it a lot as a kid.
Okay, Hunchback I didn't like as a kid, but as an adult, Hunchback is more and more interesting to me. It's a flawed one. It's not as good as the other movies.
No.
But the music is so freaking good.
Yeah.
The music is incredible in Hunchback. Like, it's really a peak for the songwriter who was on most of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, if it was non-Disney, I'd say, like, speaking of excellent soundtracks, like, Prince of Egypt would be awesome. Like, that'd be a cool
Yeah, if it was DreamWorks, sure.
Yeah, DreamWorks took over Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I just heard the announcement that DreamWorks wants to do a live-action Prince of Egypt.
Oh, my God,
just
really?
to make me not go to the movie theater. Thank you.
Come on. Yeah, that movie's awesome, though. It's got, like, really good soundtrack. I don't know, though. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's like Star Wars is a no-brainer. Because that would be cool. That'd be super cool. And Mickey basically hops around like Yoda. And
I imagine a Marvel thing. I don't know what like is the super memorable Marvel world and all the fucking green screen movies that they've put together.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, which Marvel movie would
I was like, oh yeah, I can't remember any of the areas in Marvel. No, there's a big rainbow bridge in the Thor world, I guess. There you go. The Thor world is probably the most clear world in any of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just America, but like fucked up, like shit's happening.
Yeah, there's aliens falling into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess those would be mine. Just the one. Just Star Wars.
Frost asks, did you at any point actually think Goofy was dead when he got hit in the head?
No, I thought that was a dumb plot point that lasted like
No.
3 minutes tops.
All right, so I have our first review of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Is that it for questions?
No, I'm just going in order.
Oh,
here.
okay.
So it's
ahead.
questions and reviews.
All right.
Epic Mediocrity says, I'm pretty sure I missed the deadline, but I'll post it anyway. You did not miss the deadline. This is definitely a better game than the first, and most of that comes from the gameplay. They did a good job in making the Gummy Ships section much more enjoyable and interactive. The addition of the drive system allows for a lot of variety in the way you can tackle enemies, and combat itself is just so fluid with a lot of combos at your disposal. I did not like the way they chose to have each drive type level up in different ways. Valor was by far the easiest, but the rest were just a colossal pain in the ass unless you farm them up by using one to kill enemies and then jumping back to the map before the gauge runs out so you can come back with a full drive gauge.
Honestly,
I didn't know that was
attention.
a trick. Ooh.
I paid zero attention to the drive levels, honestly.
I only had to for the one boss. I really enjoyed the new worlds, especially the Lion King world and the Timeless River. They definitely could have left out Atlantica. It was nothing but an annoyance of a level that really felt like it didn't belong. I also didn't really care about Agrabah either. I felt like they should have just kept the Disney worlds from the first game out of it. The story was good, but it did get pretty annoying with everyone and their cousin being Ansem. Pretty confusing at times, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah, have you been to a Walmart? Like, no one's Ansem.
Yeah.
Like, no one's Ansem. When you're going into Walmart, like, not a single Ansem person is there. Really being Ansem is being in the minority of all people.
Yeah, for sure.
They did a decent job at getting me attached to Roxas and feeling for him when he made his decision to merge with Sora and wake him up. I absolutely love Axel. He felt like he had the most personality of anyone in the game, and the organization members were all pretty interesting in their own personalities and their fights as well. I think my biggest gripe with the game has to be adding in the Roxas fight that wasn't in the original game. Me too. It was hands down the hardest fight in the game, and the difficulty spike was completely unexpected and unwarranted. I spent hours trying to beat him and even threw my controller across the room after a 2-hour session of getting my ass handed to me. It'd be one thing if it was optional, but to make it mandatory was just not cool. Feels like a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10.
All right.
I definitely agree with you on that last part there, Epic Mediocrity. Definitely. Do we need to shift our...
Yeah, let's scoot.
Okay.
Sorry, you won't get to see as much of my collection of games.
Get to see the construction zone.
Yeah. Welcome to the unfinished basement.
Do you got an email review?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Our first emailed review here is from the man, the myth, the legend, Greg Troyan. It is titled Kingdom Hearts 2 Review. It's good, he says. That's it.
That's it. Wow, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks.
Must have given him too much shit for the last long one.
He said, I'll make it brief, and then it's like 5 pages long.
Yeah.
It's all right, Greg. There's an in-between. No, it's fine. I actually liked your review last time. Okay, Frost says, this is the best Kingdom Hearts game. Yes, I realize that's a lot calling the best mana game. Sorry, I realize that's a lot like calling something the best mana game, where only 2 out of the 3 games are any good. It takes everything out of the first game and makes it way better. Larger maps, better performing, better combat, etc. Agree with the others that the Atlantica rhythm game was trash, but the addition of the Lion King and the Timeless River plus Christmas Town were huge improvements from a world perspective. One of the best parts of the game is the critical mode. It's not just harder because you take more damage, you also deal more damage and start with a bunch of useful abilities. And if you really like the combat, there's even some decent extra boss fights. The story is Kingdom Hearts. Run around for 20 hours chasing whatever, get the last world, to story dump, to save the world with the power of friendship. Summary, Kingdom Hearts 2 is exactly that. A much better version of the original. Funny. Sometimes it's okay to just take something people like and improve it. Maybe Square Enix should remind themselves of that. P.S. I thought the final mix, only fight with Roxas, was super challenging, but in a fun way, not like Chain of Memory is challenging. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it was more challenging than anything I did in Chain of Memories, but that's because I cheesed the last game. So
yeah, I mean, I played Chain of Memories on normal, so it was hard.
Yeah,
but then the Roxas fight was not hard for me.
That's all the ones from the Discord. Do you have any any others in the email?
No, and honestly, to be fair, I think the first 3 games of Mana are actually pretty good games.
Yeah, they're really solid.
After that, no, but like, those first 3 were a lot of good, though.
Do we really not have another one? I thought we had some more. I guess if we do, we'll find it and we'll just.
Yeah, I got some emails.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Your email.
Oh yeah, I got email ones. Yeah,
yeah. I'm out on the Discord ones.
Okay, so Stolas writes, Kingdom Hearts 2 review. Hello, gentlemen. Congratulations playing the last good game in the series. Now the real suffering begins. Okay, my review. Positives. The gameplay is the best in the series. The story is still semi-understandable. I think the biggest positives are how much bigger the worlds are, how the camera was no longer up Sora's ass, and the depth of the gameplay. Also, the gummy ship shooter was a huge upgrade and extremely entertaining. I 100%ed it in 2006. Lastly, I really liked that there was a reason to revisit Worlds. Yeah, because you had to.
Yeah, because the area wouldn't open up if you didn't.
Yeah. Negatives. Donald and Goofy are still pretty useless. The cutscenes that include them are full of secondhand embarrassment. Atlantica. I don't need to expand. Also, tickling Tron. Actually, 80% of the cutscenes were painful. I think I was out of the target age range demographic, not in my early teens when it came out, so I blame myself. Final mix. This was advertised a few months after Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in the US. There was so much more content added, like 20-something new bosses, equipment, abilities, dungeon area side quests, and cutscenes. It also being sold with the RE chain abomination. I was pretty annoyed that they decided to withhold this version of the game until 2014, giving us only godforsaken RE chain in 2007. At this time, Square would also give us Dirge of Cerberus, create the Crystal Tools engine, and begin the saga of Versus 13. This was the messy Square era. Anyway, the new dungeon and Cave of Remembrance is my favorite addition, even though it could be extremely hard. The area's music was fantastic, probably my favorite in the whole series. The new added bosses were insane, but kind of entertaining in a masochistic way once you understood the gimmick. I had to max out Sora's stats with strength ups, magic ups, and vitality ups that you synthesize by grinding for hours just so I could survive more than a few seconds. Just to note, I platinumed 100% of this on critical, so my experience might differ from yours/Joe's. Man, how did you know I was going to read this? I don't think the data organization battles were as insane on beginner or normal. I would say that this marked the beginning of the sadistic bosses in the series. Like, from this point on, the super bosses become hell on earth and meant for players on the spectrum. Side note, looking back, this is the last few years of seeing international/final mix versions of Square Enix games. I think Birth by Sleep was the last game to receive a final mix subtitle, and FF12 getting an international version. It's interesting to think if Dirge was a PS3 game initially, maybe it wouldn't have been a Barge Fire. Best, Stolas.
Man, these versions are so annoying. I mean, we've already talked about this, but like, I just found out, like, as in like 4 days ago, that one of the games that I thought I was going to have to play on the DS was in fact remade. I think it was Dream Drop Distance. Was in fact remade for the PS4 for not 2.5, but for 2.8. For 2.8, you get another game. A whole of the game.
Yeah. Are you going to buy that one, or are you just going to play it on the DS?
Fuck no, I'm just going to play it on the DS. I already spent money on the Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah,
so.
Isn't the PSP one? Isn't that one also?
The PSP one is on the one we have, though.
God damn it! I bought the PSP version.
Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I bought it. Fuck.
Yeah,
dude, this is so stupid. This is such bullshit that they do this. These fucking people, man. God, the versions, just stop.
Yeah, 1.5, 2.5 is not enough for you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like,
you gotta have 2.8, 1.8, or 1.5, 2.8. or the story so far, or all in one.
All in one, you fucking assholes. The least convoluted title you've ever come up with. And it's actually true. At least up
I don't
to this
know.
point.
I don't know if it is. I
think
would have
it's
to
true.
look and then be like, oh, that's actually missing. But they're all missing. Like 358 over 2 days was never re-released. So that one we definitely need to play.
I was wondering why you brought your copy of that fucking game. And that makes sense. Because,
Oh, my PSP?
Yeah.
Why I brought my PSP?
well, you know what? Maybe I didn't buy that one. Maybe it's just your copy I'm looking at.
I don't have it. So you did buy that one.
God damn it.
Yeah.
You didn't buy it?
No.
Oh, my fucking God.
Because I already looked at this stuff at some point.
Dude, I did
But
too.
when I looked it up,
Fuck, I
Birth
did
by
too.
Sleep had not been remade yet because we bought these forever ago, at least most of them. We bought these Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts games forever ago, and we were like, hey, this is it. Then we find out that there's a remake of one of our games on a slightly later release. And it's like, wow, I must have bought those games between the two releases.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's like,
Also crazy how long ago we were like gearing up for Kingdom Hearts.
yeah, how little we knew
Yeah.
of our actual start date. All right, so I have another one here from Julico. Hey, Joe and Caleb. Our Kingdom Hearts 2 questions plus self-introduction. Okay. Julico here from the Philippines, so excuse my English if you find it hard to understand. I discovered your show by just looking up Final Fantasy podcasts on Spotify, and I clicked on the first thing I saw.
Sweet.
I've loved the show and
Thanks,
have been
Spotify.
binge listening since the start of the year. I have this weird OCD thing wherein I need to listen to every single episode that you guys released. Oh, I appreciate that.
Oh, nice.
That's a good kind of OCD to have. in
Yeah,
my
that's the
opinion.
right kind of OCD.
I got hooked to Nude Clan. Awesome show, by the way. Thank you. Before I listened to the awesome reviews you made this 2023. That means I might get to the Kingdom Hearts reviews by next year, more or less. Well, it's almost next year, so. I still owe you guys an iTunes review on both UFF and Nude Clan. Sorry, Joe, I'm not interested in Godzilla. Anyway, there are a couple questions that I have for you guys. One, it's a popular opinion that Kingdom Hearts 2 is better than the first one, so my question would be the other way around. What did you think Kingdom Hearts 1 did better than Kingdom Hearts 2? Can be story or gameplay, anything you could think of.
I mean, we already mentioned Atlantica. Believe it or not,
Somehow, yeah.
is better in the first one.
I mean, it's not somehow, it's worlds better, but that was the worst level in the first game, I think.
I think that I prefer Simple and Clean to Sanctuary. So the Utada Hikaru song, I do prefer the first one. And it seems like the series prefers the first one because it keeps on playing that one through all the spin-offs. Although I'm sure that, that's a pretty super subjective thing. So lots of people are going to disagree with me on that one. I just prefer that other song. What's another one that Kingdom Hearts 1? It's less convoluted.
Yeah, the story's simpler. I don't know. I mean, I guess Kingdom Hearts 1 gave us these worlds originally. So, like, Kingdom Hearts 2...
Points for originality.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 just repeating all of the worlds again is kind of a ding against it because Kingdom Hearts 1 had already done those worlds. But I think pretty much everything else I feel like is better in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, do you get a dodge roll automatically in Kingdom Hearts 1?
Yeah, that's true.
Nice. You don't need to have it on your ability screen taking up your CP or whatever.
Yeah, that is true.
That's stupid.
I don't know. I think that's it, honestly. Like, Kingdom Hearts 1 is a fine game. I don't have anything against Kingdom Hearts 1, but 2 is just...
Oh, I have things against it. But
Yeah. 2
is better
2 is definitely better.
by like a mile. Spoilers for the ranking.
Yeah. All right, so his next question is, which FF world or which FF character are you most happy to see in Kingdom Hearts 2?
Oron.
Yeah. Yeah, Orin
Wasn't
for
ready
sure.
for Oron, and then I saw him, and it was like, he's cool.
And I was like, man, is that the same voice actor? And the answer is yes. He sounded a little off, though. But, yeah, that was awesome, seeing Orin in there. He's, like, one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters, so
Yep.
That's pretty
cool
awesome.
samurai dude. That's what he is.
Yeah,
Who drinks.
He's fucking
constantly.
dead the whole time, so he's awesome.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for FF10. He's not
also
alive.
Bruce Willis. Yeah, I agree. I agree with me.
Yeah. Which FF world would you like to see? Would you have liked to have seen in Kingdom Hearts 2?
FF World?
I mean, we already basically get Spira. I'm totally convinced that the
Yeah,
island thing is the same
Destiny
thing.
Island is very close in aesthetically to Besaid. From an aesthetics side of things, the Final Fantasy 13 world is pretty cool.
Like Grand Pulse.
Yeah, maybe not Grand Pulse. Grand Pulse is kind of just like the wild, but like all like the kind of the final areas in FF13.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'd say like that stuff is pretty well drawn. It would be pretty cool to see explored a little bit more and more than just the hallway they gave us in 13 itself.
Yeah.
I mean, Midgar, of course, would be like a no-brainer on Square's part. Balam Garden. You know what? I'll fucking throw a Balam Garden your way as like a one that would be interesting to see as a whole world in a Kingdom Hearts game. They already have Squall as a character in these games.
Yeah.
So why not go home with him?
Yeah, those would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Xanarkin could be cool.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sweet.
FF10 is a pretty easy one to put in here. I also think aesthetically it would probably mix pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much thought the first area was FF10. I mean, because it has fucking 2 FF10 characters as well. So
yeah.
I'm just like, oh, this must be Besaid. And then randomly, Selphie is here too.
Well, maybe Destiny Island, although you see like Sora's mom and stuff, and it makes no sense in like Kingdom Hearts 1. Remember that weird cutscene with Sora's mom?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, in the other Kingdom Hearts games, if we're ever going to have any acknowledgement of adults outside of the Destiny Islands.
It's not looking like it.
Yeah. They'll probably do like 1.99 remix on the PS6 that's going to just cut the scene with the mom in there.
Yeah.
Just try to make it make sense with the rest of the series.
Oh, man, this next one's like a legacy question, kind of. It's been 9 years since you guys started UFF. What is the most memorable / fun moment you had with UFF? It's like an end of the podcast question here.
Almost.
I think the time that I was watching Joe stream Dirge of Cerberus at my house, and I drove home like super fucking fast and hid behind the couch and scared the shit out of him on the stream. That was pretty good.
That was good. There was the times I was using the Vanish Doom trick to kill the dragons. You didn't know about. And
I forgot.
You
I knew.
were over at my place, and you said, if you can beat that, because you were stuck on this dragon, you said, if you can beat that dragon, I will blow you.
Yeah.
And then I managed to beat him.
And then in the gayest thing he's ever done, he beat it immediately with the Vanish Doom trick. And as he started it, I was like, oh, shit, I forgot about that. Because I had used it like once, and I think I used it twice, and one of the times it broke the game. So I was like, all right, I'm not using that anymore because it's like it glitched my fucking game out.
So that was great. Playing FF11.
That was a really good time.
Listeners initially, like that was awesome. Yeah, there was a lot of great fun nights with Krinital and Baindrum and Artiforian, all the other people that would like come in and out.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. 14 has had some fun fights, but I wish 14 was a little bit more on the multiplayer side of things.
Yeah.
So that I could get those more often. So it didn't feel like it was a waste of time to ask for listeners like Krinital to come on and help us out when we were just only going to play for like the one dungeon and not going to keep going from there, because then we had like 9 hours of cutscenes to grind through. So
yeah,
14 kind of spoiled some of that, but there were some good moments in 14. I remember the first time that we fought against the dragon with the like the fight has changed since then, but like the poisonous like green stuff on the bottom of it, I was like trying to heal and everybody was fucking yelling at me and shit. It's like there's some good moments there. So a lot of the multiplayer stuff or hanging out at the other person's house and like playing the game was pretty fun.
It was pretty cool when Krenatol flew out to Utah and stayed at my house, and we all played the Chocobo games for a weekend. Like,
that was pretty fun too.
The 2 racing games, playing against you in Theater Rhythm was fun.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot of it is the multiplayer aspect of the shows.
Yeah.
And like when I was like sick one day or something, and you wanted me to come over because you were trying to get the Platinum and FF10 for like a day, and then you're like, fuck this, which I understand. And I came over and I just ground out like spheres. And that was that one where I had to knock the guy on his back, and I was like, man, I've just been like staring at this guy's taint for like the last 2 days of my life.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That was
just packing up and heading over to Joe's and just fucking sitting on my ass.
Yeah.
And then I did the Chocobo racing shit for you.
I remember that too. Yeah.
And I was supposed to exchange it for your list of Al Bed primers, but then when I tried to pull your save data over after I had done the fucking race for you, it was like, just so you know, if you do this, we're going to disable trophies. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I already paid the price, man. I had to do that fucking Chocobo thing twice. You know how fucking hard that is?
I didn't remember that we had to do that. Okay.
Yeah. And then I had to play the game again up to the first Seymour fight, a little past to get to home to get that goddamn primer. So yeah, it was like, dude, that was like 140 hours of FF10. It was crazy. Those were good times.
Good times. Not Kingdom Hearts 2. None of that.
Yeah. No, none of the more recent stuff has been that great. And I mean, even playing Explorers for the 2 days
Explorers
that we did.
Was awful. That's an awful game.
Yeah, even that was fun just because of the multiplayer.
I know, but it's an awful game.
It is bad. Yeah.
The multiplayer was fun while it lasted.
It didn't last long though.
No.
Those are probably my favorites. And then watching Joe play Last Mission on stream, and you fucking, the second you get on the new floor, you finally got out of this floor you were stuck on for like ever. It was like the very last part you hadn't looked at. You get into that new room, and the first step you take is a trap door, and you're just like, oh, and the fucking screen froze, and it's just super fat Joe, like mouth wide open, just like reacting to this. And I was like crying at work because the internet always cut out at like the best fucking points.
Don't remind me of that.
And I was like, man, Last Mission, I know the feeling, dude.
Dude, if the streaming would work at all for these Kingdom Hearts games, I mean, I was streaming, but I'm sure it was cutting off my audio constantly.
Oh yeah, it keeps kicking me off entirely. It just ends my stream.
Stupid. I've heard the way around that. It's just using a stream card instead of doing the native streaming, but still stupid that it's even a problem.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I would rather just sit on my freaking couch or on my like floor in my room or lay on my bed or something. That's what I've been playing. I don't want to come down here and hook up like 10 things just to bypass. And they'll still give us like warnings anyway because the music is still copywritten like to hell and back.
So it's bots are finding it.
Yeah, I think it is. I would be streaming them too for sure. I like hanging out.
Because then people could have seen me versus Roxas.
Yeah.
Getting pretty fucking mad at that thing. That was rough. That was brutal. Do we have any others?
I think we do. He says, I hope you guys are doing well.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. He says, thanks for creating fun and creative content for us. I really appreciate it. The show helped me get through the horrendous traffic I go through every day. Hope to travel to your country someday. I love the tangents as I learn more about your culture and point of view.
Well, thank you.
Oh, he says, P.S. Thanks for tagging at everyone in the Discord channel. It helps keep me updated. You're welcome. I did that today again at like 5 a.m. So hope you loved it.
Well, wouldn't be 5 a.m. in the Philippines.
No, that is true.
Would be a different time. I don't know what time that would be, but it would be a different one.
I was waiting for like an impressive knowledge of.
Oh no, yeah.
Like
well, you see, it's -11 from the standard whatever, and no, I have no idea what time it would be in the Philippines.
I know it's during the day when it's during the night for us. Because that time I was playing FF15, like at work, it was because I was training the agents in the Philippines to take our jobs. Basically.
Oh, that's right.
Because I was teaching them how to do English properly. Because they would like answer, and it's mostly Americans that use the product, and their answers would be like zany sometimes. I'm like, all right, you gotta do this. You gotta reword that. It's not quite right.
Yeah,
like,
we got a Philippine guy. He's a part of our marketing team at my work too. So sometimes I throw him videos to edit and stuff.
Nice.
Yep. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay, we got anything else?
One more. Jake Brullo says Kingdom Hearts 2 review.
Jake Brulian.
Yeah. Unlike the Kingdom Hearts series, my journey through Final Fantasy with UFF came from a place of nostalgia. I have played almost every FF game as a kid and absolutely loved them. 2 games into the Kingdom Hearts journey, I was starting to ask myself, are all of these Square Enix games actually ass? Is my nostalgia from 4 to 9 clouding my vision of what is a good game when it comes to Square Enix? What's in the box? Thankfully, Kingdom Hearts 2 assuaged those fears and reaffirmed my conviction that Square Enix can, in fact, make a good game. Kingdom Hearts 2 is not just a good Square Enix JRPG exploration of young anime girls game. It's legitimately a good game. The overarching Kingdom Hearts story of this game is still really dumb. We start off as Roxas, who's Sora's nobody, whatever the fuck that is, and proceed to spend 3 hours in a bad Tony Hawk ripoff. Mixed with a train riding simulator. After that dumb, drawn-out section of the game, Sora, Goofy, and Donald wake up and go Riku, Mickey, Kairi chasing for the next 15 hours of the game. In keeping with the tradition of making previous entries meaningless, we then find out we didn't actually beat Ansem in Kingdom Hearts 1, but some idiot named Zeohart. There's some other fuckery with dudes named Deez and Zemnis that I'm sure will be rendered meaningless in the next 8 over 2 games. The actual Disney Mini World series in this entry are charming, much better played out than any previous Kingdom Hearts. I have almost negative interest in what the RE Kingdom Hearts story is going to be like going forward, but that doesn't really matter if future games are enjoyable like this one. The combat in this game is vastly improved over Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories. The PS2 jank that made Dawn of Mana look like a game of the year candidate compared to Kingdom Hearts 1 is entirely gone in Kingdom Hearts 2. Sora's attacks feel smooth, responsive, and precise. Forms. That's brutal, man. Dawn of Mana was not good.
No, dude.
It was so bad. Boo! This fucking horror game.
You gotta spook them, dude. You gotta spook them.
Yeah, you gotta scare the shit out of them, and then you gotta beat their ass. The forms add a cool RPG element to character growth outside of typical leveling up, and seriously wreck enemies. To me, the design choice of making certain overworld abilities locked behind form leveling is frustrating.
Yeah.
But not a huge deal. After the atrocities that Chain of Memories committed on me, I played this game on easy, so bosses didn't really ever pose a huge threat.
Oh, that must be nice.
That said, they had fun mechanics that I enjoyed and even caused me to get a few game overs. The graphics are vastly improved over Kingdom Hearts 1. Game looks great and holds up today. In the music department, Yoko S. really continues to shine as a bright young composer at the time. Overall, outside of Heroes of Mana, Dawn of Mana, and Final Fantasy Tactics, there are very few games I've played while listening along to UFF that I disliked more than Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories. Damn. Those games were so fucking bad that I almost ditched the series. Thankfully, I did not. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a very solid game, enjoyable as hell, timeless in look, and has some really fun Disney side stories to boot. While the overall Kingdom Hearts story through 2 is fucking stupid, the game itself is more than enough fun to bring me back. Most of the time when I play a game, I have a little desire to keep playing post-game. That's not true of this game. Kingdom Hearts 2 is fun enough to keep coming back, and I certainly plan to. Rankings. Kingdom Hearts 2 by a mile. Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 1, Cheers, and Brulo.
Okay, is that all of them?
That is it.
We got quite a few responses on that one. Of course, they had a lot of time to...
Yeah. Did anyone even say anything about...
Recoded? I think there's one thing.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so when we record that episode very soon.
Next week.
We can get into that. Okay, let's talk about the legacy of the game and rank this baby. The legacy of this game. Critical reception, had positive reviews, praised the visuals, soundtrack, voice acting, mixed assessments of gameplay and the narrative, the story of this game. The sales, it shipped more than 1 million copies in Japan and North America within weeks, over 4 million worldwide by April 2007, and that was only 2007. Just think about that.
Yeah, think of how many times people have accidentally rebought this game in all the collections.
Yeah, or like had to for shows or that they were doing.
Yeah.
For example. Yeah, this game is a big hit for Square Enix. It's one of the reasons Kingdom Hearts is like one of their flagship enterprises outside of like it's Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts and
yeah.
You know, a couple other series, but it's one of the big ones up there. So, and a lot of people look back fondly on Kingdom Hearts 2. I think since Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like the disappointment. It's like, oh, I wish they could go back to Kingdom Hearts 2. So this game seems to be like the Kingdom Hearts to me from looking at the outside of the fandom of that series. So I think it has a pretty solid legacy. I think the gameplay still holds up personally too. Obviously, we played remasters and remakes of these remasters of these titles, but the gameplay is pretty good. Not as PS2 janky as the first one for sure.
Yeah,
a lot smoother of an experience. Story's weird, but more. It's easier to follow than I think some people give it credit for. But yeah. I think the legacy is pretty solid. Anything else that you've noticed?
No, I mean, everyone that I know pretty much thinks this is the best one. And Kingdom Hearts 3, as far as I've heard, is kind of a mixed bag. Like, I know Caleb Craig hates it, but
yeah,
I don't know how many of these little ones he played. I know he played some of them, but I don't think he played all of them. So, we'll see how that goes. But I do think this is, so far, it's peak Kingdom Hearts. Gameplay for sure. Like, it's still older, you know, like games now that have like a block function. You can actually use it. You know what I mean? Like, it's functional.
Use this one. Believe me, you can use this one. You have to use this one against certain Roxas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Somehow you clearly didn't have to, but fuck.
So like the gameplay, it's pretty good, but it still has some kind of old feel to it.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, it is an old game, so. As far as how old it is pretty awesome for what it is.
I think it's solid. I think it's a good example of Square Enix's games at this time. I don't think it rises to the heights of the Final Fantasy games that came out during this era, but...
This is what we had, like... Wait, this was 2000...
This was 2004, I think. I should probably look. I should probably know that date. So it would have been in like the... FF12, 10, and 11 kind of time period.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those games are better than this game, I would say. But even 11, like...
Yeah, I think in certain ways it's worse, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, the weird...
2005, sorry.
The weird nostalgia for FF7 is like, or FF11 is... It's calling me again. But I think it's just the good times.
It's not for me at all. Not at all. I think it's insane.
Yeah. I just need like my balls to get like punched over and over again.
That's between you and your wife.
I think that's between me and Squirt and me and Play Online, bro. That's what I think. Need to get those small stat increases for every 2 hours of fucking crabs I kill on the beach. Yeah, I think it's definitely peak Kingdom Hearts, and I think everyone agrees pretty much. And it is a good era for Square. You know, they had a lot of good stuff coming out in the middle of 3 really big, great Final Fantasy games. So the legacy holds up. I think that's short selling the sales for sure. I'm sure the collections have added a lot, even if you divvy them up 358 over 2, you know,
times.
Still get some Kingdom Hearts 2 in there. But yeah, this is the big one for sure. So
yep. Rankings. Well, real quick, I guess final thoughts on the game. I think this is a good game. I don't think it's as good as you remember if you played this back in the day. At least that's the experience I had. But it's a solid experience. It's a fun game. Definitely made for kids. Definitely is Square Enix at a very specific point in time, and definitely has the Nomura stink all over it.
Yeah.
But it's an enjoyable game. It's good gameplay. I wouldn't say the story is really anything to really look at, but it's definitely better than the other Kingdom Hearts games story-wise. So I think it's solid. I think it's a solid game. I wasn't bored or anything during it outside of some of the Disney-esque cutscenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's solid. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely worth your time, even if you didn't like the last two
Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah, I think this is a definitely worthy of your time. In the entry of the Kingdom Hearts games, and just as a game in general, I think it's pretty fun. So yeah, if you're having doubts and you're listening to this for some reason and not having played the game, give it a go. You know, it's not a bad series. It's got some dumb shit throughout that I don't anticipate them backing away from, but overall, I mean, I think they're all good games. So this one's the best one. Spoilers.
Right. Rankings.
I am going to go Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories.
Did I put Chain of Memories above Kingdom Hearts 1?
No idea.
Okay. Because I remember in my mind they're super close.
I don't honestly remember.
Super close.
I know I didn't.
Okay.
For sure.
You're saying for sure. I mean, I did cheese the game. I do think it's an interesting game. Chain of Memories is what I'm talking about. I mean, the story's not as good. The story's really bad.
Yeah. I can't. The fact that everyone praises the story for Chain of Memories, I'm like, what did you play? Like, what the fuck?
It's not just the plot we're talking about. We're all are also talking about execution. That's what I want to say to some people who think like fucking, what's that awful game that everybody loves? And it's not awful. It's just okay. That's super hard.
Super hard?
Yeah. Played it for New Clan. Everybody shit on me.
Oh, Bloodborne?
Bloodborne. Okay.
Oh, man, fuck you. Bloodborne's an amazing game.
Bloodborne story.
No, story is not good.
People will be like, it's awesome.
I've
You're
said
piecing together a mystery within the item menu. And I'm like, that's bad execution on the story. I'm not, and, like, I don't care what the plot is. I don't care what the lore is. If the execution of it is not good, it's not good, man.
Yeah, they've only made one game with a good story as far as I'm concerned. Sekiro.
Okay. Gosh, sometimes I want to put Chain of Memories above Kingdom Hearts 1. That's the thing. And I might have done it last time.
Do you want to double check?
No.
Okay.
Fuck it. It changes. Whatever. Fuck you.
Deal with it.
Deal with it, bitch. The jankiness of Kingdom Hearts 1 is one of the things that brings it down.
It has that PS2 jank.
It has the PS2 jank, but the gameplay, I think, in Chain of Memories might be better. But the story, I guess, is better in Kingdom Hearts 1. Still not great. Okay, I'm going Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1, and then barely below Kingdom Hearts 1. Probably, honestly, in my mind, tied, depending on how I'm feeling, is Chain of Memories.
Yeah, I've got Chain is certainly below 1 for me.
You had a different experience than I did, to be honest.
Yeah, that last boss was... I mean, phase 1, I melted like a stick of butter in the microwave. Phase 2, I was the butter. Like, he was the microwave.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for listening to Ultimate Final Fantasy. Make sure to check out our sponsor, manscaped.com, and use the code UFF to save you some money.
Yeah, 20%.
20%
at checkout. That is awesome.
That's a good discount. And check out our other show, Nude Clan. If you like Godzilla, check out the Godzilla podcast.
If you like Game of Thrones still, the 5 people out there, we got For a Few Chickens. For a few...
Song of Schweiss and Johnson.
For a few, I can't even remember the name of it. For a few chickens more, a Song of Schweiss and
Yeah.
Johnson, a Game of Thrones podcast. You can check that out too. That show's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it.
We are reviewing Recoded next. There's not enough time for your guys' reviews and questions, unfortunately, if you didn't already get the memo, because we're recording that today. And but if you have reviews and questions for 358 over 2 days, you have about a week from this podcast to get those to us. So or just check the Discord for when we have the announcements in order to stay on. If you want to see us do the episodes live, we're twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy. And I think that's most of our links.
A week?
A week or two. I don't know. Check on Discord.
When are you planning on releasing this thing? In 2 weeks?
Oh, I'm releasing this episode pretty much the day after we record it.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you in a week.
I'll be releasing the Recoded review
After.
probably a week after that or two, maybe.
You can do one.
And then, but 358 over 2 days, I'm going to have it beat in a week.
You son of a bitch.
You're supposed to have it beat in a week and a half, so I guess you have 2 weeks from the time this episode was recorded.
Are you going to be up in town again in 2 weeks?
I'm making this happen.
Okay.
So despite
don't make too much happen though, because I don't think I can do 2 again in 2 weeks.
No, I don't think that'll happen anyway.
Okay.
This game's longer.
All right. Yeah, Recoded.
So your reviews and questions for 358 over 2 days, or as we like to call it, Kingdom Hearts 179.
Yeah. Is that like a reference to how many ice cream bars they eat in that game? Because every screenshot I've ever
358 ice creams times 2 would be that one.
358 ice cream bars over 2 days.
Also about 358 pounds gained over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With all the fucking ice cream that these characters are sitting on their asses after. I guess they do some hack and slashing. That's probably pretty physically intensive.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how heavy those keyblades are.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows? Anyways, guys, we will see you then.
Until then, enjoy the grind.